Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, and Shana Tova to ya all on the, whoa, what was that? Oh, the flying chicken.
The on the rail.
Sorry. Yes, a Shana Tova chicken tevu to, I don't know, to all of you from Dave's Gone By. It is a brand new Jewish New Year. It's also a brand new episode of Dave's Gone By live on this Saturday, September 16th.
I don't want to insult you, but why is Melvinstein higher than the Mashiach? That's going to be a problem.
Oh, you think I should?
And they're facing opposite directions, David. That's also a problem.
Oh, they're covering the world. See, on the right, on my right, it's probably might be on your left, but on my right, Melvin G. Mintz. Very important personage.
He's like the patron saint of the show now.
He really is. Melvin G. Mintz, whom I've never met, who is probably a really, really nice guy.
Yes.
But I saw his picture in a magazine put out by a local medical center thing.
Yeah.
And he's like a politician, a local personality in and around Pikesville, Maryland. And
man of the town.
Man about town. And remember we saw him in that really cool photo with his baseball buddies and stuff?
Yes, wearing jeans. It was very nice.
Yeah.
Informal Mel.
But here he's much more formal. This is the formal Melvin G. Mintz picture. We love him. There's just something about Mel. So Mel controls this side of the world. I think that might be a little hot for me to drink, but let me try. Pardon me.
Grab the
I got it. Mel controls whatever. Is this northeast or west or what is that?
Yeah, controls Pikesville, etc. Pikesville adjacent areas.
Whereas Mel is Pikesville adjacent. Parts of Owings Mills.
Yes, and some of Mace Chapel, but only on Fridays.
There you go, exactly. And little parts of Baltimore too. But of course, on the left we have the late great Rabbi Schneerson, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, who, by the way, I don't follow or anything like that, or not orthodox in the least, but there was something about Menachem Mendel that was just so amazing. So he covers the rest of the world. Africa, Asia, India, all the continents. Mel is Pikesville, Owings Mills, and parts of Baltimore. The Lubavitcher Rebbe is everywhere else. But
this is mostly Williamsburg.
Well, but his influence goes so much farther.
But that's like the nexus of his,
Williamsburg, Brooklyn, Crown Heights, Borough Park,
some Borough Park.
Seaghurst, and let's not forget Los Angeles, where he, I guess, selected Menachem Kunin, who ran the telethon. I mean, he was just a big dude. They had the telethon. I didn't watch it a week ago. It was 2 weeks. It was Labor Day.
Professional now.
The Chabad Lubavitch. It's nothing. You can't even.
It used to be very much like a grassroots, very organic, very much like we need somebody to fill. Let's get Sadie's kid who plays the trombone. Let's get a choir of children. Now it's like. And they used to get the guy who used to come out just like sloshed and he would talk, right?
Well, he wasn't just a guy. He was a major Hollywood producer who happened to be Jewish.
Like, don't mix Vicodin and Stoli. That was the speech one year. Right. Like, if you're going to mix Vicodin with something, Stoli vodka is not the best choice. He gave that.
And by the way, Chabad was raising money partially to get people off drugs and alcohol.
For drug recovery, drug
it was
and
beautiful.
Treatment,
So, and what was his name? It was Jerry Weintraub. Who actually I think came from where I grew up and where we lived.
But the problem is now it's more like everything. When things get polished, there's a beauty in it, but it loses that little fun.
Yeah, there's no beauty in it. Now, half their thing, all the good stuff is pre-recorded from years past. They have the old, and he talks more.
I was right, what? Remember the wife?
I think the wife lived.
Whoa.
I don't think she died. There was a point when the major Rabbi Shlomo Kunin, who ran this insane telethon, Mrs. Kunin, the Rebbitzin Kunin. Last week or a week ago, when they were doing the latest, like the 30-something incarnation of the Chabad Lubavitch telethon, I looked up to see, because she was like, there was one point when she was on the telethon 10 years ago, and she was just this like fat lumpus on a couch, and she looked like she was at death's door. Everybody's crying over her.
Name? Kunin?
Yeah, Kunin, or it might be Cunin. Rabbi Shlomo Kunin. I forget the Rebbitzon's name. And she looked like, oh my God, they're paying tribute to her. And then I don't think she died. I think she probably got better. And the issue is, and one of the things is, that, and by the way, that's not Kunin, that's the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He died like 20 years ago. But Kunin's wife had, and I'm not kidding you, I think 19 children.
Whoa.
I mean, she was just popping these things out. And not like in vitro quadruplets and shit. It was just like every 9 months, he'd pop another wing, she'd pop another out. Oh, that one of them apparently died, which is very sad. But anyway, she looked, maybe she was just exhausted. Maybe, you know, like her vagina was just saying, either you stop or you die.
Luskin is her name. They have 13 children.
13, not 19. 13, still. 13, right? That's like a baker's dozen, except they're down to 12. But, so Rabbi Shlomo still is kind of the progenitor of this Chabad telethon that they do out in Los Angeles. And he'll still start all the telethons with a giant picture of the Lubavitcher Rebbe right next to him and do this like 20-minute sermon. He doesn't have the voice anymore. He used to be so this and that. And I was,
Oh, he only has one brother who was a rabbi in Crown Heights.
Oh, that makes, wow.
Pincus.
Well, Pincus Kunin. Wow. I had Pincus Kunin, but they cured it. So, but it's not the same telethon. If you remember, if you ever watched, if you saw it in the 80s, it was a car crash. And a beautiful, so it'd be Carol O'Connor and Jan Murray hosting. John Voight would come on. They all dance with rabbis. Then, like, you know, the women would come on, but they wouldn't be allowed to touch the men. Then there'd be Mordechai Ben David singing some Yiddish song. Then Harry Dean Stanton and Bob Dylan would come on and sing. I am not even exaggerating. That is what would happen. And then they would be lost because they wouldn't know how to do the tech. Or they figure, oh, we have to do 5 more. Let's just have the rabbis do more dancing. Yeah. It was nuts. It was fabulously,
it was like time filler,
ridiculously nuts and crazy. Along with all the telethon stuff and the pleading for money and the.
You got to do that. I mean, that's like, yeah. I remember Jerry Lewis. Like as he got more and more sick, his telethon got more and more out there.
Yeah. He was still trying to stay up 23, 24 hours straight. Yeah. And he did. And he actually got back. He had like he was being treated for something. He ended up getting over it and he died like 15 years later. But
he had, like, what do you call it? Where they put that? He had some kind of electronic device. Like, I think cortisone, but he had something put in his back that he said worked. Like it's like a pain, not stimulator. It's like an anti-pain thing he had put in his back.
Because, well, I think he had fallen off the stage or broke his back.
Yeah.
It turned him into a whole different person.
But he also, like, he did a lot of physical.
Yeah.
You know, like I had a student who was 35 years ago and was on Broadway, and he told me he had a metal rod in his back because of all the dancing, and you know, things happen. He's like, you fall, people bump into you, you kind of twist something wrong,
And the interesting is that most Broadway dancers have a rod in their ass, but that's just on Saturday nights.
It was bad. Like,
yeah.
And he was studying to be a psychologist because he's like, there's not going to be that long of a.
A dancer's life at 35. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at a football quarterback's life.
Yeah.
And it kills me. I'm 59 years old. 59.
Yeah.
I am 20 years older than Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of the New York Jets, who is called like an old has-been.
No, but that's like, so there's a guy, I forget, it was one of them, not to read it, but it was one of the deep, like symbolic interactionist people, and they talked about pugilists, dancers, like people who use the body more than in time they use up the body quicker, so they're more like fighters, football players. Like, I'll tell you, David, all these things where you get your head knocked around, you're just looking for cognitive shift. Like, don't do it.
Yeah.
So to me, I would rather not, like, you couldn't pay me enough money to have somebody come at me and push me to the ground holding a football like that. I would not. I would not.
No, it bothers. I mean, I read
money you could pay me to do that
this morning about a player on the San Diego Padres who are one of the most disappointing teams of the Major League Baseball season because of their payroll. If they were just paying, if they were low on the list of how much they're paying their players and stuff, people would be like, well, okay, nobody's famous there.
They're paying them a lot, and they're not.
Yeah, their payroll was like $250 million or some insane friggin' number like that.
So can't they? But they can't get rid of him.
Well, they signed this guy at age 31 or something like that to an 11-year contract.
Is that unheard of?
11 years for $350
Why
million.
11 years?
Because he made them, if you want me, So, and then they wonder why, he's not going to go anywhere. He's guaranteed all this money. What's he going to, is he going to kill himself? Is he going to run hard on the bases?
Maybe.
Is he going to be a leader in the locker room? No. He should. He ought to. But it's such and this thing of like everybody writing back under the story of like, you don't pay a 31-year-old ball player for an 11-year contract. Because by the time he's in his 30s, he's going to be trying hard. He's slowing down. It's like in his 30s. In his 30s.
Because that's a very physical sport. It's basically people. Is it football or baseball?
No, it's baseball. It's not as physical as.
So baseball is not that. I mean, it's physically demanding, but you're not getting pummeled. You just have to. Probably what's happening is if he's a hitter, his reaction speed will slow.
Yeah, but but in his mid to late 30s, for sure. It's
slowing now. Ever since you're 14, 15, your reaction time's slowing.
Well, I just think it's kind of funny that these people are saying, he's 31. What kind of future does he have?
Well, that's sports, not.
I mean, I'm double him, almost.
That's sports.
Double!
That's sports. It's sports.
I know it's sports, but jeepers creeps, man. It's dispiriting. And then Aaron Rodgers, the guy from the New York Jets, the football player.
Yeah. I don't know.
He is signed for I think a 2-year deal for a tremendous amount of money because the Jets really want to get into at least the mid-level of the playoffs, if not the Super Bowl. They want to turn things around. They figure they have a serious defense, which is very, very helpful on a team. So they hire a name quarterback with a great history, a past record of winning, right? There aren't that many great quarterbacks out there, and he's got a serious legacy. So, he's of an age. He's 39, I think, years old, whatever he is. I think it's 39. And so he goes out there on Monday Night Football, and and the first offensive drive of the game for the New York Jets. And it was, he's got the ball, runs a play, runs another play, runs one more play, runs a third play. He gets hit, and his Achilles tendon blows out. He's gone for the season.
Yeah.
And possibly he's saying he'll come back.
Do you think that people, when they see them coming at, they see people coming at them, they put themselves in a position to hurt that tendon, or they?
Oh, I don't. No, they put themselves in a position to get the quarterback down. Not, I mean, in a way that says, I'm intimidating, not to hurt them, but to show you're going to take a hard hit if I get to you. Make sure you have an offensive line, which the Jets don't have, that will protect you because I'm going to sack you 5 times. I'm going to take you down. So he gets clobbered, and his Achilles tendon, whatever, that pops. Yeah. four plays into the game.
Yeah, but shouldn't people protect him? Like, why aren't his?
Well, that's the problem. The Jets have a wonderful defense, but they have forever. Everybody was telling them this. I mean, you can have the best quarter. You can have. Tom Brady.
Yeah, but you need to have somebody protect people from getting hurt. I mean,
that's
pretty
the
cruel.
problem.
Why can't they protect each other?
Well, you have to have better players. You have to get the best players. And
why don't they go to some team building exercise where they all become friends and they help each other?
Why don't they all get sumo wrestlers and they all gain 400 pounds, so literally the linemen, they can't get at them. They can't
run.
Boom. Yeah. They just take up so much space.
If you're 400 pounds and you run, you're going to have a heart attack.
You don't have to run. You just sort of block. They're blockers. That's their job. They block people from getting to the guy throwing the ball.
The real people doing
But it's just kind of funny. First of all, he's going to make $70 million whether he ever plays another round or not, ever. I mean, that's it. That's the deal.
I would personally think for an athlete, they'd want to play,
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, look at Tom Brady. He came back from retirement. The man had zillions and zillions of dollars. Yeah. Could be acting in commercial, good-looking guy. He had Giselle Bundchen as his.
Well, we saw that the MMA guy, or the guy, I think he's Welsh or English or Scottish. He's like a descendant of Romany or Irish travelers.
Yeah.
And he retired, and he has a family. They made a TV show, but he has to go back and fight. He can't.
I don't even. I get it, but I don't get it. But Because having a career,
It's what they do,
Yeah.
you know. It's what they do. So it's like I guess they feel like, what am I going to do? Sit around? So they want to.
I mean, a playwright could make, and then a playwright, a real playwright, will never retire. Playwright
Yes,
can be
exactly.
70-something years old, have a great hit, have a
Look
lot
at
of
all the
flops.
people you interviewed who keep doing their show, and they write a new show, and like, yeah, I can see that.
But they're not sports people who have retired, and could all they have to do is sign a couple of autographs or go in front of a TV camera for 30 seconds.
You know, we have that retired and gave a new version of themselves.
Oh, we're talking about we have. Hold on, he's not retired, our original one, but we have a backup.
Sometimes
instead of a backup quarterback.
He oversleeps, right? He sleeps late. He's a late sleeper.
So we have Tube Girl, wacky inflatable Tube Girl.
Can we see the front of her? Or is that the back?
I gotta turn her around. There we go. Yeah, there she is. Hello.
Whoa.
Bow to the Rabbi. There you go. Bow to Melvin G. Vince. Come on, bow.
Oh, she didn't let you do the mint.
Prostrate thyself, even though you don't have a prostate. There you go. We have Tube Girl. But it just kind of strikes me as funny of all this talk of aging and senescence and obsolescence of people who are so much younger than I am.
It's relative. It's very relative, right?
I wish I was related to. I wish it was in Tom Brady's will, or
why don't we do that?
Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm out there busting my balls, teaching all these. Oh, of course, go. Teaching all these classes, teaching all these courses, because the energy that I bring to this show, amazingly enough, if you know me, you know that this is the energy I brought to the theater when I've done one-man shows or been in people's plays, and it's the energy I bring to the classroom. I wish I could be one of those teachers, and I've seen them who can just go in front of, have the monitor, have the PowerPoint, have whatever, talk to the class, basically talk in a normal tone of voice, explain this, not be boring, but just be like, in here, in this, okay, everybody got that? Any questions? Okay, great, let's move on. And you need to know this, and you need to know that. I can't do that, man. I'm teaching two courses in two different disciplines, and I'm still like, madman, wild man Fisher running all over I can't stop myself. It's who I am. And I think back, and it's funny, because I'm teaching, one of my courses is in film history. And a few years back, I took, just for funsies, just for laughs, and just to give myself a deadline, a course in screenwriting and television writing, even though I took all those courses a million years ago, at University of Northern Colorado. And I had a professor, teacher there. He was an adjunct, kind of a glorified adjunct, just like more glorified than I was. He was a little more full-timey. And he taught this course. And if I tell you, he basically stayed at the monitor, with his notes, and barely even used, occasionally would have a little bit of screen stuff, but talked about screenwriting and the nature of it, and would explain that this is why this movie works. And here's a 3-act structure. And this is what we've done with that. And, any question? And he didn't whisper. He really did talk in this amazingly low, measured tone of voice. And at least I was never remotely bored. Never remotely like, oh my God, I can't listen. Oh, where's the energy? It's not, I can't, not getting it. No. It helped that we were all there because we wanted to be there. We wanted to, this was not English 101. This is, do you want to write something interesting? Want to write something creative? So, the energy comes almost more from the students in that case than the professor. But I don't know how people manage that. I guess it's in my personality that I'm so afraid that you're going to be bored, that you're going to turn off. I'm like, love me, watch me. I'm like, I can't be quiet for 4 seconds. Because it become an uncomfortable silence, and you're going to turn the dial. You're going to turn the computer off. And I was thinking about this also this week because someone on Facebook shared not a takedown, but kind of a critical overview of comic actor Martin Short. And I don't remember if it might have been for Vulture.com, might have been for another website or something. But it was basically this person, in a very measured way and in a fair way, was saying that she just doesn't dig Martin Short's comedy. Never did. It was always too over the top. It was always too Jerry Lewis-y, like hyper, love me, need me. You're not laughing at it. I'll throttle you until you start laughing at me. He will just do anything. What was that?
The artist who did those.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I want to get back to that. Remind me, because I'm talking about Martin Short. So I did love Martin Short when he was doing Saturday Night. To some extent Saturday Night Live, but certainly Second City television. And Short is having this other life in the something, The Dead in the Building, or
oh, the murder one.
Yeah, the murder mystery one with Steve Martin. I'm sure that's really good, and he's hilarious when he appears on talk shows,
Why can't
things
we
like
get that
Conan,
to-
because we don't get Hulu or whatever that's on.
Okay.
But I'll defend Martin Short because I know where that comedy is coming from, and I've seen Martin Short on Broadway on stage, and I know that he's capable of just like making me laugh like crazy. Whether he was in Little Me or he did this one-man show I'm forgetting the actual name of it, but it was basically him doing characters and doing shtick and doing specialty material for himself. And to me, for the most part, it wasn't too over the top. It's just friggin' funny. And she would even admit that in certain cases he was just right for something, or he was really funny in something. And it's just, comedy is so subjective. And a lot of people immediately, when someone reposted that critique of Martin Short, all these people suddenly came to the defense of Martin Short and said, how dare she take him down? We love Martin Short, and this is a terrible article, and why do they have to tear people down? She wasn't tearing people down. She was reviewing him. In the way that we review movies, in the way that we review theater, she was honestly and openly reviewing the career and the personae of Martin Short, and for her, he came up short. For me, he does not, and I bring this up because this past week, really a real shock. Broadway lost a great comic performer, and nobody was expecting. I don't know where the hell this happened or how it came from. A marvelous comic actor named Michael McGrath died at 65. This is awesome. I'm 59. We don't know. He's dying of sleep. It was sudden. It was like, or they're not saying. Yeah.
Death of Michael McGrath.
Michael McGrath died in Bloomfield on September 14th, 2023.
They're not.
Spamalot veteran.
Yeah.
Says, how did he die? Unexpectedly in his sleep, it says, yeah.
Yeah. He's just, and if I tell you some of my most fun times in the theater in the past 25, 30 years have involved Michael McGrath. Remember the show, The Coconuts, that we saw?
Yes.
I don't know if we saw Frank Ferranti doing it, or we might have seen Michael McGrath in the Groucho role, which would have been the first real time that we would have seen him doing his thing. He was off Broadway at that point. But then so many times I saw him on Broadway when he was one of, if not the best things in the show. I remember there's a show called Swinging on a Star, a musical kind of review-y thing.
See if anybody says anything.
Yeah, a musical review-y kind of a thing with
Is he
him.
Sick?
It doesn't say anything.
No, it says like.
And there were good songs and there were scattered, but here, every time he came on, suddenly something else happened on stage. He was one of these naturally funny people. And I'm going to say something that's not remotely fair. I'm going to call him the poor man's Nathan Lane, which isn't really fair to each of them. But if I were casting something and I couldn't get Nathan Lane to be the comic lead, I would have gone right to Michael McGrath, because he had that certain something that put over a joke, that put over, and in such a professional way, but the timing, the cadence, the diction. It's kind of funny that the two best Jewish comedians or comedy people on Broadway and off for the past 30 years are not Jewish. And obviously Michael McGrath, not Jewish. He had something. He was in Tootsie.
Adorable, mischievous, and brilliant. That's what he
was. He was. In Tootsie, there were a lot of small roles. Tootsie wasn't a great
It says,
musical.
yeah, no details.
Tootsie wasn't a great musical, but it had wonderful cameo, like supporting roles for people like Julie Halston. All the secondary people who stepped up have funny scenes, and they were funny, and it made it a very funny Broadway musical, albeit flop. But he was one of the best things in it as like the agent and manager of Michael Dorsey. He was in, what else was he in? She Loves Me. He had a very good part in there in a more subdued way. Of a show that I thought was really, really enjoyable and funny.
What?
A Mark Twain play called Is He Dead? That they did on Broadway. Like, it's all about an artist who realized, you know how when an artist dies,
Yeah,
and
but
we'll talk
people-
about this with Botero. When an artist dies,
People would know if they're dead.
his mother. Well, this was the point. Somehow I forget the whole plot of it.
He wasn't dead.
But rumor starts that he dies,
Yeah.
and suddenly his work is worth 100. He's a starving artist, and suddenly he's incredible. So he's got to be not dead and alive at the same time, or dead and alive at the same time. Very, very funny. He was in that. Even when he was in and the interesting thing, we talked about Martin Short.
Yeah,
Michael McGrath was in the ensemble of Little Me, the revival that starred Martin Short. And even when he was in the ensemble, he was the understudy for the lead guy. If Martin Short was out, McGrath went in.
Whoa.
You know, in my
confusing him
favorite
with
year, he
Mark
was.
McGrath from that band.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Michael McGrath. Excuse me, Michael
No,
McGrath.
I'm confusing him with
I don't know
because
who
it's a close.
Mark McGrath, but it's just like,
Yeah, that's so weird.
and I just felt really, because you expect Broadway people in their 70s, 80s,
Yeah.
90s, and when Paxton Whitehead died, I felt sad. But I knew,
the reason they don't say what happened, it's weird.
yeah, or they're holding it, or sometimes people just.
Sudden, yeah, but
Yeah.
like.
I can't wait to look at the New York Post on this and see all the people. Oh, he must have gotten vaccinated. The clot shot. He would have lived till 80 if he hadn't gotten the stupid vaccine. It's like, shut up, because that's what they do. Anybody who dies under 87, according to conservative right-wing readers, was killed by the vaccine.
So we're gonna have to calm you down with your.
I'm just saying. And you say that the sculptor Botero and painter, I think Botero passed away. The guy who did these big, fat, curvy things. I remember one time, this is going back a few years, when I was working in New York and I had a full-time job and was being paid pretty okay, and just was poking around an art gallery, and they started sniffing me out, and I had an opportunity to buy like a Botero.
Wow.
Could have and should have. I could have afforded it.
Self-focus.
All right, this is a totally different thing. As upset as I am about Michael McGrath
Yes.
and the passing of Botero,
Yes. You were even more upset.
but we have to explain this before I can even show this.
Well, last time we showed the Virginia cones, we had a whole series on
Yeah,
Virginia.
so explain. Do
We had
the
when
back.
we went to Virginia, every 5 seconds there was a traffic cone, and then we would constantly see traffic cones pop up. And then you drove me to Green Spring, and we're there, and for no reason, the work is done a mile away, maybe half a block away. Workers are doing something. There's a cone in the middle.
A traffic cone,
I
yeah.
bet you somebody took it to hold a parking space,
Sure,
But it was beautiful, and you bonded with it last week.
I did.
It was your friend, and you had lovely pictures. And then we had some of you with Walgreens with their yellow and their orange cones.
Yes.
And then, last but not least,
So this week we go back to this Green Spring place with a parking lot,
yes,
and I see my friend the cone again.
Mr. Cone.
This kind of orphaned,
Yes.
whatever cone
All the
that
other
had.
cones had stripes. He didn't.
He did not have
He did
stripes.
not.
So he's the Rudolph
Yes.
of
He's
traffic
the
cones.
mufti of traffic cones. Yeah.
And instead of being right in the middle of a spot holding a place for somebody,
Yes.
or stacked with his friends,
Yes. I think someone
I-
probably mowed him down and moved him on.
this is what happened.
Yes.
They put the cone was on its side, on the ground.
No, but at least it was away from traffic. It was on a little hub, right?
Yeah, it was right by the curb, so you wouldn't really roll over it or something. But how tragic was this? My friend, the cone,
Pony, yeah.
that was upright and upstanding. By the way, I was trying to mimic the girl in Kent State when she was kneeling over the dead college student, but I don't think that really comes through in the photograph. But anyway, you're watching Dave's Gone By. It's 9:30 in the morning already.
Oh, also, we threw away my sneakers. That was something good.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead. Well, it's not really a big story, but Joyce has these. See, when I wore shoes and sneakers, even back in the day, and even still to some extent to today, and we will have, by the way, Bunion watch later in the program. When I was a kid, because I have very wide feet and flat, what we call arches and stuff, it was hard to get me. You couldn't just bring me into a shoe store and get me the latest pair of shoes or something. I had to wear borderline orthopedic. There had to be specialized shoes to make room for my bunion, to make room for my feet. And the issue was, not only were they kind of uncomfortable, because when we were kids, back in the day, shoes were these hard leather fucking things. I hated them. I even got the reputation later in life as the barefoot guy. Once I got to work, I would take my shoes off and I'd be in stocking feet all day. I'd go to the theater. Jokingly, people make fun of me as the barefoot critic, because I would get to the theater, get my stuff, get my notepad if I was taking notes, or just, sit there and at that point I was wearing the beloved Velcro shoes I've worn for 25 years, and just sit down, off they would go, and my tootsies would breathe for 2.5 hours. And the only annoyance, of course, was if there was an intermission and people were starting to scoot. I'm like, wait, I gotta get these on. I'm going to the bathroom too. But shoes were always uncomfortable and heavy. You always knew where shoes, because, if you put shoes in a bag back in the day, even my sneakers, you knew, that bag was going to be like 5 pounds or more. Yeah. Nowadays, especially with shoes like women wear and Joyce's wear, they're like a quarter pound. You literally, a McDonald's burger weighs more than a pair of sneakers, in particular, some of the shoes. Because the shoes are just straps and shit.
They're like Nike Fly ones, so they're very light, right? Light shoes.
So I didn't tell you the whole story of how I'm sort of at fault for this, but
oh God, we're going to DSW today, baby.
I was saving this kind of for the show.
No black plate special for you.
Hey, no, but
look at you.
We come back from the car and we bought some stuff, and I had some stuff in this bag.
Yeah.
Including what I imagine. So I put the bag on the table and I start unloading it,
Yeah.
and then I see in the bag are sneakers.
Yeah, my
and I realized that, oh my God, if I accidentally left this here, you would see that. Shoes on the table, that's a horrible omen.
Death omen,
yeah. Because when miners would come back
No, that's not miners. My Uncle Bob would say when the soldier dies, they put their shoes on the,
Yeah, because they get the effects back. They get the metal, the thing, and the shoes, they go on the table. It meant death. Yeah. So fuck, the shoes are on the table. Oh, no. So I immediately grabbed
threw them in the garbage.
No. I put the bag on the door handle of our side door of the kitchen.
Which is our slang for that's garbage. That's where
right. Well, so I hung them because I didn't want to put them on the
that's
thing.
Where we put our garbage.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't think about it. It was just like, oh, they're off the table.
You
Thank
threw
God.
them out?
I don't. No, you threw them out.
But
you were the one who threw them out.
What's the part of the story that you're hiding?
The point of the story I didn't tell you was that I accidentally had them on the table for like 10 seconds. I put that bag on the table.
You're gonna get tat on Cooley Duck.
I did. Shame on me. But once I realized, I didn't leave them there. Once I realized,
you put them in the place that we use as garbage. Why don't you just put them on the floor with the shoes?
I should have put them on, because I think there was also like other stuff in there.
No,
there was stuff. Because I think my straw might have been in there if my drink was in there. Remember, we can't find my straw?
I'm glad your straw's gone.
Thank you.
Straw's the culprit in the deception. We're going to DSW. I took socks.
I know, you're going to get a new pair of sneakers.
These are my socks. I need another pair.
Yeah, because what happened was, because the bag was in a place where, and we haven't even done this a lot of times, but there are some times when we hang a bag on that door after we take the big garbage out.
Yeah, that's an indicator.
For last minute, I should have put it on the floor.
Put it on the floor.
I will from now on, but who knew? Because when you're tying up garbage, you're bringing stuff out, it doesn't occur to you. What?
You put them there, you sacrifice them.
Yes.
What did they ever do to you?
No. They walked all over me.
They're just sneakers.
Yes,
And
they
I have
sneak
to-
around.
And it's hard to get the sneakers that fit because they need a wide front.
I know, and they
It's
were
not-
nice and really, really light.
Yes.
Now, if those sneakers had weighed like 14
Yeah.
pounds, like my sneakers
well,
did back in the
when I put
day.
on my Birkenstocks and kick you, you're gonna feel the difference.
Thank you
I
very
would never
much.
kick you.
No, but that was the thing. That's how they wound up on the door
And
when you
you're
accidentally
so
backed them.
passive-aggressive. You didn't tell me the full story, you son of a gun.
Well, I didn't want to tell you because I knew I would say, you put the sneakers on the
Okay,
table.
so let me tell you the story when I saw my old boyfriend. What happened?
Yeah, what
We
happened?
just didn't go for coffee.
Oh, really? Did you? Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything.
You have mentioned that he's hung much bigger than I ever was. So, no, just kidding.
You don't even know who I'm talking about. I have more than one ex-boyfriend.
I know this is. Anywho. So yes, I am partly responsible.
You're
fully
fully responsible.
How am I full? You
Because
could have looked.
you-
What we do
because-
when we take away garbage is we look in the bag
I
and then
don't
we
look
tie
at
it up.
garbage when they tie garbage up and put it on the door. I
Usually,
see
and before you
garbage.
remember,
I don't go rooting through garbage. I'm not a raccoon.
I remember when I told you don't put something in there that's not actually like it goes
I
in
have
the.
no idea what you're talking about.
I have no idea what I'm
You're gonna
talking
have
about.
to. You're gonna have to.
What? What? Buy you a new pair of shoes because we have to because you accidentally threw your sneakers out.
No,
That happens.
No, I was actually set up to throw my sneakers out because you put them in a throw-out place.
I wonder how I get blamed forever in there. It's like,
Because
I'm
it's
just
your
telling.
fault. You took them off the table and put them on the door. Put them on the floor. It's like a half a foot below is where the shoes go.
Yeah, but they were in a bag.
If
they were just
was there
loose.
clothes in there too? Did you throw any of my gym clothes?
I don't know. I
You
didn't throw.
probably did because I'm missing gym clothes.
I'll bet there was I'll bet when you
Son of a gun.
changed.
You son of a gun. You son of a gun.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All
You better
right.
shatter your teeth.
I'm not getting any anal tonight. I'll tell you. Anywho. You're watching Dave's Life in Pieces right here on Dave's Gone By.
It's already 11 o'clock, David.
No, it's not. It's 9:30. We're going to go to another, what do they call those? A church bazaar.
Yeah, flea market, like crafts. It's a crafts. Oh, with the French fries.
Oh, I hope French fry
I hope
guy's
he's
there.
He'll be there. I hope so.
Oh, I hope so.
There's the ice cream truck, but we like the French fry.
I got to pay $13 for another ice cream shake. The hell with that. But
French
for
fry.
a French
man.
fry man,
Yeah.
oh, he's got a van.
Yeah, oh.
That is actually louder than a leaf
It's
blower.
not a van. It's a tiny food preparation cart.
Yeah.
Normally they're like a food truck, but this is like a tiny thing you tow.
Right.
But that's to get the fryer going. That takes a lot of juice.
Oh, I know. But it literally, if you put like 5 leaf blowers together, it basically makes the noise of this French fry
But
van.
it gives a lot of ketchup, and he's nice.
Yeah, he's very nice, and it's come on, it's freshly cut,
Yes.
freshly made,
Yeah.
fried. You know what?
If he has any by the time we get there.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
get there
So,
late,
oh, it's only 9:30 now. We'll get there before noon. But so it's funny. That's the real reason we're going to this church thing because it's the same stuff every
you got
single
that
time.
big Oreo cookie shake you love. Remember they had
Yeah,
the shake?
I'm not getting anything like that again.
Okay.
But they used to have also in
They
this
still
church
may.
fair.
Sometimes,
time they did
yeah,
it.
no. Well,
They lost the use of they couldn't use the oven or something like that.
Well, maybe they fixed that.
Maybe
I'm
because
gonna look it up.
once or twice we got lunch there. It was okay. It wasn't that great, but it was nice to support them and they have these tables of people selling belts and selling tchotchkes and selling things for the home and candles and there's all I'm sure going to be Halloween and pre-Christmas crap. But you never know. Sometimes you find something useful or something cute or something good for a gift, and it's something to do on a Saturday afternoon. When you're not in the middle of San Francisco or Berlin or New York City. It's like, oh, okay, there's a church thing there. They've got little, salespeople selling their
I'm
wares.
looking in their Facebook. It's looked through.
Yeah. So, and we used to go every month to this, and then they take a few months off during, I guess it would be the summer that they take, and then they come back in the fall.
I think they stagger. Like they stagger the. Oh, I don't see it.
Really? I mean, we can drive there. It's a mile and a half away. It's not like we have to.
Yeah, that's true.
It's to go there.
Were you just talking about David Spade?
No.
Okay.
No, Martin Short. So that's our exciting day today. We're gonna.
I don't see the list.
Oh dear.
I could swear.
Well, we'll check them out. No big deal.
Maybe I messed up the date.
It could have been last week when we were at the other, the
No,
bigger
it
flea
wasn't.
market
It
thing there,
wasn't.
which we did go to,
Mm-hmm.
which was at St. Paul's Church.
You talked about that before, honey.
We did?
Yeah,
No,
did.
you mentioned it. You said we should talk about it just before we went on the air. And the most interesting thing of that is that later in the month, they're having a crabs festival at the St. Paul's Church thing. So it's like,
Oh, this is what my friend said.
Yeah.
Fells Point Fall Festival. That's really big. It's
Ooh.
in Baltimore. That's supposed to be like a big farmers market and stuff.
yeah, when?
It's the 16th.
Today?
Mm,
Yeah.
I'm just reading. I don't know what it is.
But there wasn't anything. I mean, again, it's interesting to go and see, but they did have, and this is what I live for, at this one we went to last week, which was kind of bigger in a big old church basement, pastries and goodies. So you could get like a nice brownie for $1.
What was your favorite one?
They did a nice chocolate brownie. The sugar cookies were good.
Oh,
They also had like a chewy. It was all good. It was
yeah.
all good. I mean, I just remember, I'm too old. We used to go to these places and they give you like a dozen cookies for $1. Or you get like a thing, a whole cake you could buy for $5. Nobody does that anymore. Now you get a thing. Is here's $1.
Oh, it is here. It's called Crafts Galore. That's the name of it.
All right, good.
That's why I didn't see it.
Yeah.
It says about, let's see. Oh, people gave it 5 stars.
Ooh.
I guess I don't know why they.
Mm-hmm.
It just says
Yes.
it's wheelchair accessible. Or they're taking photos of the church. It is that one. Yeah, it's called Crafts Galore.
Crafts galore. We're gonna go. Which is nice because it's not all going to be Christmas, at least at this time of year. We'll find a lot of Halloween stuff, but there might be a nice thing. We need a new wreath holder for our front door.
Do like
Yeah.
Maybe
But-
they'll have it at somewhere in.
Michael's or somewhere like that, or some of the places we shop. It's weird. It's like we think we're not sure about this, but we think we have a really, really dumb deer in the neighborhood.
Because we saw the poo-poos.
Well,
He made the poo-poos.
yes. Sometimes I'm very lucky. I look out the window of our backyard, and there'll be a deer, or sometimes a deer family traipsing along. It's been a couple of days. It's been a couple of weeks since I've seen a family.
I wonder if it's not they're out. It's probably hunting season starting soon, so hopefully they're not coming around.
Fair. Well, if they're in our yard, nobody's taking a shot at them. But
No, that's true.
But the thing is, so I see these deer, and I see them going,
Mm-hmm.
and I love to see the deer. But sometimes you don't see the deer; you just see
You do.
what they leave behind, and they use our house, outside our house as a toilet. Wonderful.
Everybody has it. Even our neighbors said they found a lot.
Yeah, we're not the only one. To a lot of people, deer are pests.
Yes.
They don't want to see them because they know,
Well,
they go in the
that's why
backyard.
we get the ones that are special.
Well, we got
here.
a special one who
We
goes.
get the ones that
Yeah.
the herd kind of probably would abandon and say, "You go your own way. We're gonna all meet at 3, and then everybody else meets at 2, and leaves special deer to kind of bobble." And
Right.
we got like the fox that looked like he was like near death. Like we have all the.
Yeah,
You
he
know.
looks. We have a beautiful fox I saw yesterday
Now,
morning. But yeah.
but he, I hope it's the same one who looked like he was.
But so we know that deer are not only in our backyard occasionally, but they go traipsing along even like the front of our house. And we've seen the wreath that we keep just a wreath of plasticky fake leaves, just as a nice thing on the front door, which was hanging on a thing. And for no good, you would figure a wreath that is made of plastic would just kind of stay the same, even if it's windy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nothing's going to happen to it. It's just twiny, plasticky, rubbery, wreathy leaf things. And Joyce has noticed that sometimes it gets all sort of untangled and
Oh wow! It says.
Yeah.
Some believe that wreaths were hung on front doors in ancient Rome to symbolize victory.
no, because they
Not
give
for
it.
him.
No. And we're wondering why the hell. Or does the male person, does she have something against us? And every time she comes up, she like pulls something off the wreath. But then Joyce figures, you know what? No, it's got to be like an animal.
Yeah.
And dogs would not be that tall.
No.
Squirrels would not be that
They can climb on glass. Yeah.
But a deer's big enough to kind of like, oh, is this lunch?
And in that poo, I think I saw a little plastic.
You did?
I think, or my speakers, either one.
But we figure this deer is nibbling.
I'm looking for sneakers that
on a fake wreath on our door, and then leaves if you've ever seen deer poo, it's generally like these little nugget things that are all heaped together.
He was just eating and very excited.
Yeah, and so he leaves us, but he doesn't let us see his beauty or his grace.
I don't think he had either one of those things. I don't think a deer that was doo-dooing and eating plastic. I personally do not feel that deer had beauty or grace. He might be lovely, but I think he was probably...
For all we know, the reason they shot Bambi's mother is like, don't let her reproduce. She's making deer like this guy. Yeah.
Like deer eugenics, yeah.
It was like, I want to find Santa. No, just...
I feel bad for him because the poor thing, like, that's hard.
If he can't tell the difference between, like, foliage, which we have, by the way, this time of year, everywhere, bushes, leaves, trees. Yeah. It was like, what's that hanging on the door?
Well, I hate to say it, but maybe it's sweet. Maybe plastic does taste sweet. Maybe it has a different...
I mean, think about it. Dogs that are domesticated and fed 3 times a day, have all the food that they want, delicious dog food, sometimes snacks from the table and treats.
They eat shoes.
We'll still eat a wire.
They eat shoes. They eat everything. Yeah. I mean,
so there's no telling.
Maybe there's something good in it. We don't know. I mean, maybe plastic or that wreath might have... Maybe it was out in the rain. It got a little salty.
You're right.
Or maybe
it was like glistening.
Like sometimes people chew digestives. Maybe it was like a digestive for him.
Hey, look at those. What are they? 8-year-olds or whatever that were in a daycare or some kind of
eat crayons. Kids eat crayons.
Oh no, there was a kid died and 3 others got sick from eating fentanyl.
Oh gee, that's bad.
I had to take care of the
That's really bad. I mean, I'm sorry. Like that's really bad.
Yeah. I hope they put ketchup on it so it tasted okay when they were eating it. But
no, but they probably didn't know what it was and they just ate it.
Yeah,
and that's not
but
good.
What is this with like you had breakfast, right? You probably even had lunch from the maybe from the school's cafeteria.
No, but they're little kids. Daycare is tiny kids.
Yeah, but if you're not really it's just curiosity which killed the cat. It's just this idea of I'm not really, but let me try this. This looks edible.
It's hard to figure out. I mean, maybe he ate it and then it made him sick and then he pooped.
You're talking about the deer now. Yeah.
The kids, like, I don't know. It's like when we were in Colorado, there were so many cases of kids eating marijuana edibles, right? Like, it's like,
you're right.
Kids don't know. They just don't know.
And I guess deer, on a certain level, dogs, on a certain level, don't know either. Mice, whatever, things will eat whatever they'll eat whenever they're around to eat it. I don't get it. So I want to, again, remind everybody you're watching the 911th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable and sneakerless wife, Joyce. We're calling this episode Dial 911. Go figure, it's the week after September 11th, 9/11, and we did our 910th show last week. But yeah, this is our 911 episode. If you want to watch or listen to, since we were on the radio only for so many years, all our archives, go to davesgoneby.com, DAVESGONEBY.com, davesgoneby.com. Our archives are also at archive.org. This is a completely not-for-profit website that is all about just compiling entertainment and literature and art from the past 100, 200,000 years, either with public domain or with permission. And we have a channel there, Dave's Gone By channel at archive.org. And for recent stuff, it's almost better to go watch the show there because we can upload higher quality audio video files than we can at the regular website, davesgoneby.com. But either place, all our interviews, all our sketches and skits, the songs we've done on the show, all this, and plus the interviews with everybody, davesgoneby.com. Plus, if you're into audio, if you're on the go and you just want to hear this as a pure podcast, audio only, go to Castbox. I forgot that for a moment. Castbox.fm. CASTBOX.fm. Literally, just plug and play, download, boom, off you go. A 2-hour, 3-hour, 3.5-hour episode of Dave's Gone By, whenever you want it, in your ears, anywhere. Plus, we have a YouTube channel, Dave's Gone By, and of course, this Facebook page, Dave's Gone By. It's all a great way just to keep apprised of what's happening with the show and hear older ones. So, Happy New Year. What are you doing? Oh, Happy New Year again. I had this wonderful moment
Oh no.
and of course I won't use names or anything like that, but I had this moment at school last week where I was one of the students in class. I helped this. I can say it's a male. I helped him with a piece that he was writing, short piece for class. After class, I was done, and I just wanted to get home because I was like done with my day, and I was like, but I'm like, not part of my job, and since I don't really do the office hours I ought to, I make myself available, but I don't like take 3 hours, 5 hours a week in some room and wait for students to pop in. I was like, when they want me, they're entitled. So I sit down with him, and he knows I'm tired. I want to get home. I said, no. It's like, yes, let's do this. So we find a little bench outside in the hallway because we couldn't find an open classroom. And he sits down, he shows me his work, and we talk, and I say, try this, do this, 5 minutes. And I think I help him a lot, and he's grateful. And then, it's like, hey, thanks so much, have a great one. And as we're both about to leave, this is, I think, on Wednesday, he turns back to me, and he says, Lefkowitz. And these are his exact words, quote, "Are you a Jew?" And so many things go through your mind when you're asked that question, whoever you are. And the way he put it, because usually it's more along the lines of like, are you Jewish? Or do you celebrate? No, it's more like, are you a Jew? And before I could even, stop myself, the body goes into fight or flight mode. Like my fingers started to curl in a little bit. I hunched my shoulders. I'm like, and there's the silence probably lasted 1.5 seconds, but it felt like 5 minutes. And I just went, yeah. And he was like, oh, I know you guys, I just wanted to wish you a happy Rosh Hashanah.
Can I ask you something?
And I was like, oh yeah, thank you, man.
Do you know the story of the representative in Colorado who was asked to leave Beetlejuice?
Oh, what's going to talk about? Yeah, Lauren Boebert.
I've never heard that. They
Let me
were
get to that.
Vaping and singing.
In the theater, yeah.
What?
But I wanted to finish this off and just say that, like, he meant nothing by, he just wanted to be a nice kid wishing me a happy new year, right? He just wanted to say, I'm happy, and he said it right. He was like, Rosh Hashanah, not a Jewish kid. Happy Rosh Hashanah. I'm like, thank you. And we both looked at each other and gave a chuckle, and then he said,
perhaps he saw this.
He saw this.
You at Wegmans.
But he literally said, and this is the best line of the week. He said, that could have gone so many different ways. I was like, yeah, it really could have. Just the way you put that. But it was this marvelous moment of like, could have gone. He knew. Probably the moment he said, or the moment I responded, he's like, I couldn't, because it's a question that I have been programmed since birth. Like in elementary school, when you're in 2nd grade and they're showing you footage of the Holocaust to like 7-year-olds. Like, this is what they do. See the children? They're coming down the chutes. They're going to be put in the ovens.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we used to watch, like, not Sorrow in the Pit.
Children coming down chutes?
Bodies of dead
yeah.
people and dead children, like, just in chutes from the concentration camps. When you're, like, in 2nd grade.
Did anybody ever think, like, this developmentally could scar children?
Well, this is what it means to be Jewish. taught by Holocaust survivors or children of Holocaust survivors in Brooklyn in the 1970s, you know, in a Jewish school. And then the other side of it, of course, is you're constantly told, or really, oh, Israel's attacked again, Yom Kippur War, the Arabs are doing this, there's terrorism, this. And it weighs on you. And the whole cultural history of Jews being thrown out of places and facing anti-Semitism and the
Like when they threw you out of mission for wanting too many of the black men special.
Never thrown.
They give you
If you
freebies.
pay for it, they'll give you 20 of them.
They
You know.
give you nummy samples.
But so he can't possibly know that my response to "Are you a Jew?" is not It's more like, well, what about it? Until, you know, even mentally, I know he means nothing by it. He's trying to be cool or friendly about it. But the whole backstory of my worldview, is it Weltanschauung? What is worldview? What's the word?
Your epistemology, is that what
Yeah,
you're
right. Yeah, all right. My whole epistemology. And I pissed a little bit of my underpants too. My whole is fear, worry, like get ready to run, fight or flight because you're Jewish, because they're going to throw you out of America at some point.
Your father barely tolerate each other.
You know, if America hasn't thrown you out yet, give it another 50 years. You know, it's like the line in Shalom Dammit that Rabbi Saul delivers.
Yeah.
If you take someone who was in like Berlin in 1915 and you say, well, what do you think this place will be like in 10 years?
Yeah.
Same.
But look at Freud and Jung, like they were like, oh, we're German, German, then they were all identifying with their citizenship affiliation rather than their affiliation as Jewish, and they were staying late. People were like, no, it don't matter if you're German, you got to get out. And they were like, oh, no,
we're German.
We're the intelligentsia, we're, whatever. Like.
So I sort of apologized to the kid for putting him into kind of a
he probably
unaware.
didn't. And also, like, people, when you're young, you don't have the subtlety of language, right? Like,
because he's only going to an English class taught by me. I'm not going to help him.
No, but you know what I'm saying? They don't have subtlety of language, right? So.
Yeah. Are you a Jew? I'm going to try that. Just go up to people on the street. Are you a Jew? Which they do in New York. And they come out in the mitzvah van. It's like, are you a Jew?
That's exactly it. Maybe he was watching some video of the mitzvah van.
But even those people have the subtlety. Like, are you by any chance Jewish?
No, they don't. They yell, are you a Jew?
Really?
Yes.
Are you a Jew? Get in the van! You're a Jewish. Get in the van! Oh, are you a black prostitute? Get in the van. No. Hey. Just kidding. It's 10 o'clock, well, 2 minutes to 10 o'clock here in the Daverhood Eastern Time. Dave Lefkowitz with you, doing Dave's Gone By. We've talked about so much. Speaking of Jewish.
I'm going to text you the word peanuts because you told me to get peanuts.
Yes.
Later.
By the way, that's peanuts, she just said. Peanuts, not
I just remembered it.
What it sounded like. Rabbi Saul is going to make an appearance today in honor of Rosh Hashanah on Dave's Gone By, the Jewish New Year, to read a little bit from My Little Picture Bible. Oh. Plus, we'll have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we're going to Lakeside, Colorado, and we'll do our Friends of the Daverhood. And don't forget, please don't let me forget Bunion Watch. I was talking about the shoes, and maybe right after Greeley Crimes and Old Times, we'll do Bunion Watch, which is a brand new segment we started 2 weeks ago.
I'm looking for the appropriate peanut gift to send you.
All about the size, the feelings, and the texture, and the silhouette of my feet with their bunions. I know you love to see this.
Does this work as a reminder?
Oh, yes. I'll show that. So we'll go shopping later, Joyce and I will. And I wanted to remind her that we need unsalted peanuts. I have that almost every day with some aspect of my meal. And so peanuts in the shell. And that would tell me that we need to remember to buy peanuts. Because I have peanuts envy. Anywho, shall we do Greeley Crimes and Old Times?
It's your show.
Yes, it is my show. So we're going to do Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
I gotta get the...
Still dedicated to the late Mike Peters, who basically started the whole thing and started the...
I wonder if they did a bit. I'm going to look...
they're having, I think today is the...
service?
Yeah, like a public... I think he was buried, but they're having a public memorial for Mike Peters this weekend. He was a journalist.
I wonder how Potato Day went.
Oh, I looked it up. They had some.
Oh, he
yeah.
truly loved the Tribune. That's nice.
He did. Yeah, there's a very nice story about him.
Oh, he did something. Look, in 21, he did a thing looking back of my life with the Greeley Tribune.
Back in 2021, he did it. So even then, he may have known that he was or it was a 50th anniversary kind of thing.
I can't read it.
But in honor still of Mike Peters, who passed away about 2-3 weeks ago, we do Greeley Times, and I'll tell you about it after we play our theme music. Oh yeah. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Greeley Times. So it's based on one particular column that is in the Greeley Tribune newspaper, an actual real newspaper out in northern Colorado, where they have a very, very funny column they've been doing for a bunch of years.
In 2020 on his Facebook, when they cut his columns, he wrote about it.
Oh, wow.
Did you read it?
No.
They said they're cutting gnarly trombone 100 years ago.
No, but they didn't
They
cut.
said it's due to budget cuts due to coronavirus. I don't know if it's going to come back. I'm going to miss many things. To criticize Greeley's crazy drivers, people complaining about traffic cones. I really miss taking zingers at his honor, the mayor, all these people, right? But no more jabs. I've been writing the gnarly for 50 years. It's going to be
we should reiterate.
In
Gnarly
2020, he was writing for 50 years.
But here's the deal. Gnarly Trombone was Mike Peters' column in the Greeley Tribune, and it was this thing of, it looked like the script when they wrote Greeley Tribune on it. People mistook it. Literally looked like they wrote Gnarly Trombone instead of Greeley Tribune. So we took that as the column name. But the interesting thing is, after he wrote that, both columns did come back for a bit. Yeah. They were being published in 2021 and 22. It was only this year that he stopped doing 100 years ago, the column that we loved from, when he was going through the newspapers 100 years ago and picking out the fun things from that. So we don't have any more of those. That's done. But thanks to Morgan McKenzie over at the Trib, Coplog goes on, and these are things that she gets from the police department. They have to log all the phone calls that come in to the police department. The serious, important ones of a real crime being committed, or basically every call, and the ones that come in of like, can you send a policeman over? There's a weird-looking squirrel on my lawn, and he's giving me the stink eye.
Or maybe there's like a deer who's eating a plastic wreath on my door.
Yeah, that would be worth a call to the cops, to some people, but it's public record. The cops know it down. The newspapers have access to it. There you go.
That's the call.
And they strip it of the identifiers.
They just give a feeling of what happened.
Yeah. So here, without further ado or a don't, is this week's Greeley Times. Oh boy, you excited? I'm excited. Now, hon, this is not, I know you're going to reach for things. This is not 10th, 8th and 8th,
Okay.
or even 10th and 10th.
Okay.
This is 11th and 11th.
Ooh, that's also
Up there, that's like, yeah. It's 11th Street and 11th Avenue in Greeley, Colorado. A caller there. Let me tell you something here. I just jokingly mentioned like a sample call that would come into the cop log would be about a squirrel giving the.
Oh no!
Kid you not. A caller on 11th and 11th said a squirrel was running around in circles and twitching.
He's a tweaker.
Yeah. Is that meth or fentanyl? It's not meth.
He's got some problem.
Meth squirrel. Sounds like something that should be on Adult Swim.
You didn't see the other day there was a squirrel with like a huge piece of food in his mouth and he buried it in the front lawn. I was like, look at him. Yeah. I don't know. It looked like
for
a
the
pine
winter.
cone.
Smart.
No, it looked like a pine cone. So I wonder if he was like also
all
special.
the deer, yeah.
But he was burying
Well, we don't know if pine cones have seeds. Maybe they are. Those are edible.
I don't believe so, but
no,
I'm gonna go with that. Yeah. Well, I hope they figured out what was wrong with the squirrel.
The problem with these is that there's never any follow-up. Like the cops sometimes show up and go there,
Yeah.
but there's never like the next day,
Oh, we
or
found
they
out,
discovered
yeah.
it's just a phone call. So a caller at a 16th Street coffee shop wanted officers to remove a bleeding man from the shop.
God, oh God, oh.
The man was getting blood all over the lobby. It's like, there's no empathy here. It's just, can you remove him?
Yeah, but what the heck?
Stabbing victims are just not part of the central perk aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to get your writing vibe on when someone's gushing the.
Sir,
platelets.
sir, I know you're wounded, but do you have to touch the water fountain?
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile,
Where were they bleeding from? I mean,
I honestly, I don't know. I mean, it could have been anything from a bloody nose to a stab victim. We have no idea. That's why these are intriguing.
they're troublesome.
Yeah. A caller near 10th Avenue said, maybe he knew the squirrel here,
Yeah.
said that a man was sleeping with a meth pipe on his chest.
Oh, isn't that Santa? Old
No.
Saint Nick with a corncob pipe and a.
I'm thinking old King Cole really let himself
Oh,
go.
yeah. Yes, old King Cole.
Yeah.
With a merry old soul. And
Yeah,
old soul
his
and
fiddlers
singing.
are passed out. Yeah.
Maybe that's where the squirrel got it.
Yeah. Oh man. Yes, the joy. How somehow we avoided all. We lived in such a nice little area of Greeley, Colorado, and a few blocks down, there's like a whole. I mean, it wasn't. We're not talking about Bronxville or something like that, but still. A caller on 28th Street wanted to know what to do about a family of raccoons living by the dumpster. I know, right? It's like,
I told you what happened with me. So I was going home one night,
yeah.
and our neighbor Steve, he moved. We don't live in.
Oh, this is back in Greeley. Yeah.
And so he has a well, like a window well to his basement. And all of a sudden, I'm like, look at those little kittens going in there. It was two raccoons and their babies going in his wheel well, like the window well, and I couldn't see it because it was night and my vision is not good at night. Yeah.
Yeah, raccoons are bad guys. They're like, they'll get into your garbage and you try and go after. They are.
Either they'll
vicious.
take your sneakers.
Yeah. I remember we had a woman on the opposite side of Steve, and she had this issue of a family living in her garage.
Oh,
like she had
really?
8 raccoons at one point. It was one of the houses where
I don't know that.
what do you call it? The driveway slanted down into the thing, and she was telling me at one point.
Why do they live in a garage?
Why not?
Oh, okay, that's true.
Why not? In the winter.
That's true. Yeah, it's warm.
So how do you get? What do you do about family raccoons living by the dumpster? Get a bunch of people in white sheets to burn little masks on their lawns. I don't know. I have no. Well, no, it's no raccoons, which are nastier than squirrels, I guess. And a caller on 25th Avenue said that a man under the influence was running in and out of traffic, crawling on vehicles, and digging in the trash. I mean, it was under the influence of those raccoons, basically.
Honey, you sure you don't want to have a seat on your...
Oh. Hold on, I need to adjust something
your
here.
Seat here.
Yeah, just hold on. I kind of need
You
to.
might have to here.
Can you? Oh, well, that kind of spoils the surprise. You want to do that?
I'm not doing it. You got to go.
I gotta do it. All right, I gotta do
No, you just crushed it.
Hold on. I'll be right back, folks. Because this is going to be worth the wait here on Dave's
You gotta
Gone By.
take your pads off under your tushy too.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Okay, hold on.
Don't touch it. Just blow.
That's what she said. All right, here we go. Ready?
You're so mushy and gooey.
Now that was me, but it was not me. Ladies and gentlemen.
Have a nice seat, honey.
Well, yeah. Let me sit down. Let me sit back down. Hold on, wait. I gotta get my notes here. I've got the chicken here. You know what? Let me get the toilet papers here with us, just so you know.
That's how I roll.
Okay, so I have everything. Oh, is the rabbi there?
Yeah,
he's
no,
coming. All right, let me settle down then.
you popped it. Look at your face. Look at your face.
I broke it. I
Look
broke
at
it.
your face. Look at your face.
Well, I'm upset.
David, okay, just toss it out.
It's broken now.
I don't know how to do it.
I broke it. I broke it.
You did?
I know
You
that
did.
sound.
I can fix it. I'm gonna
You
go
can't
fix
fix it.
I'm gonna fix it.
That.
No, don't say it. I'm gonna fix it. We're
All
gonna
right.
try it again.
Sigh. We have the good tape downstairs. Well, that we'll explain in a little bit. Anyway, just a reminder that if you want to email me, davesgoneby@aol.com is the way to do it.
Oh, it's all wet.
Well, of course it's all wet. You're blowing into the thing, like taking a breathalyzer.
You got a big fat butt. Where's the tape?
See, this is what I was worried about when I sat down and.
Well, because you just popped on it so hard.
I didn't.
I'll fix it. Well, you just keep talking.
See, this happened to me all the time. We used to get.
Don't talk about it.
Mm.
Have to fix it. You just do your show.
Well, write to me at davesgoneby@aol.com, davesgoneby@aol.com, or you can message me right here on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com. Instant message me, direct message me, or certainly when the show is done, or even during the show, you can make your little notes and pop your messages to me, and I love to see them. I don't get a chance necessarily to respond to everybody who writes in.
Better this than your colon.
Well, that's true. Oh, good, smart idea. Let's try that. See if we can do that. All right, it goes up a little.
Oh, I see. There's another hole.
All right, hold on. We're gonna try. This is so dispiriting. Joyce is taping something. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay. All right. Remember, blow don't suck.
Hurry up.
All right. Now I'm gonna.
Hurry up. Hurry up.
Well,
Hurry up. Just don't talk and hurry.
Ready? Oh, worth waiting for,
Let
huh?
me do it again. Let me do it again.
All
I
right,
want
she's
to see if
gonna-
there's
all
more
right.
holes.
Well, yeah. I mean, at least it worked.
It
It
will
did
work.
the thing.
Just because something's broken doesn't mean it's bad. It just means we need to fix it. Toys break and we need to fix them.
Well, toys should not break after the day we bought them.
Well, you put your big fat. You hopped on it with such.
I didn't hop on
You
it with
did.
vehemence.
It's a flashback to my sneakers. I see how you did it.
Maybe we really should put that under another cushion.
Yeah, but no, because you wouldn't hear it.
Oh. All right, we're going to try this again. It did work that last time. You heard it, right? You heard it,
I
folks.
heard it, yeah. I just don't know if there's other spots that you like hopped on it. You're a freak.
Hang on. I wanted to give it like a
Well,
nice.
they're made for kids, not for like.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. You figure some kid sitting on this would be 40 pounds, not 150. So we're going to try it, folks. We're going to give this a whirl.
I want to see if anything's coming out. I don't think so.
So here we go.
Here,
Here we
go
go.
ahead, quick,
Here we go. Gonna hold it there.
quick.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm so weary. I'm gonna do it gently now. Oh,
That was good.
that one was
more,
good.
One more.
One more. In case you haven't guessed yet, we bought, Joyce
One
bought
more,
me
one
a
more.
whoopee cushion. All right, we're doing
I
one more.
fixed it.
Because even though I'm 59, I'm really 9, as my
Really?
dad would say.
No, your 5 and 9 is
14,
14. So
which is
you're
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why my dad would do math about his age. When he was like 71, it was 8, because 7 and 1 is 8, and he had that kind of, in his best moments, he had that childlike quality. All right, here we go.
Hurry.
All right, oh my goodness. All right, I just want to sit down. I'm just so tired. Silent but deadly.
Let me try one more.
All right, okay, here we go.
Maybe that.
I'm trying not to even sit on it so it doesn't break again. But all I get is a slow, gentle hissing sound. But they still make whoopee cushions, ladies and gentlemen. Whoopee! You know, the wonderful idea that somebody had that it would be hilarious to fool somebody that when they sat down they would make an embarrassing farty noise, or brap, as this particular cushion goes. And I promise we will get back to Greeley Crimes and Old Time, or Greeley Times, because we have an elsewhere today that is wonderful. All right, let's see if we can do it. Oh, here it goes. Here it goes. It's inflating. Let me just go right here on our shoe.
Sit.
That was good. That was a good noise.
I think you sat on the little tag.
I don't know what I did, but anyway,
fine, look.
it's a real, honest to gosh, hilarious whoopee cushion. Kind of looks like a Chinese person now with all the headgear on it.
It's like a sailboat.
Oh, but yeah, you see brap, and this is quality merchandise from Prank You.
Maybe.
And I can't even read that. Made in China. So
maybe you can get another whoopee cushion when we go to like Big Five today.
Yeah, there will probably be $1 there, which is if it lasts more than a day, is worth it. Yeah. But anyway, thank you for this marvelous gift, and what we got it on the air. We have it making a beautiful fart noise.
Yes, several times
on the air, which is a wonderful thing.
We'll fix it. It's fine. It works. You just gotta be careful.
Yeah.
You overfilled it. And you hopped on it. You were like.
On it. Well, when people sit down,
like you don't jump on it. You don't jump on it.
No, but the thing is, it generally is under a cushion, or else somebody would see it before they sat down. So the thing is, you put it.
Do you want to try it under the cushion?
Yeah, let's see. I mean, it will be more muffled. Here. We're gonna try this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, because this is important to me. The history of comedy hinges upon the proper usage of a whoopee cushion. Are you watching this, Mel? Are you watching this, Rebby?
We gotta be quick.
Well, yeah.
Just one, not two.
All right, so well, here's one cushion. Here we go.
Put it on.
Ready? Okay.
Hurry, get ready.
Well, get ready. Okay.
Okay.
And, Huh?
That was horrible.
Horrible, but good.
Okay, that's right.
That was a good noise.
Okay. I'm gonna blow it up. Don't sit on me that way.
All right, I'm going to stand like this for a bit. You're watching Dave's Gone By, the way, in case you've forgotten. In case you're wondering what the hell this is.
Okay.
All right, are you done blowing?
Yep.
He asked.
That was good.
Hours
and
of
hours
fun. Ladies and
we had a
gentlemen.
good time with it.
Here on Dave's Gone By was worth it.
I
Thank you.
enjoyed it, yeah.
Thank you for the, because she gets me these little gifts when she goes places like chicken.
We're waiting for them to restock chicken.
The teeth.
Yes.
What else we got? The air horn is great. The air horn is probably the best of them all.
What about?
Oh, Screaming Goat is great. We love Screaming
We
Goat.
also have the pickle somewhere. The yodeling.
Oh, the
pickle.
yodeling pickle! He's got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So all these marvelous things, the sound machines, just some good stuff. Anyway, let's get back to Greeley Crimes and I keep calling it the old name,
Well, that's
Greeley
because you're used to
Times.
that name. You've been saying it for a long time.
So Greeley Times, where these are phone calls that came into the police department in the past 2 or 3 weeks in Greeley, Colorado. A caller on 8th Avenue reported that a man was knocking on drive-through windows in the area. He's not. Excuse me, is Hamburglar home? Can I talk to Mr. McShake? It was like, yeah, I guess. And then there was a caller near 10th Avenue who reported finding a, quote, suspicious taped white box of everlasting ice sitting on a bench.
Oh, it's like the thing you put in a cooler. It's like that freezer pack.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
Maybe he wants to keep the bench cool.
Yeah, well, it's an ice thing to do. All right, so I'm sort of checking the computer there because with that icing, I was hoping the computer won't freeze. But I want to get to the elsewhere. because the Elsewhere this week is magnificent. We did one of these probably 2 or 3 years ago. Last week, Elsewhere in Greeley Crimes and Old Times means a story that is ridiculous, but comes not from northern Colorado, but
Is that
completely
this one?
somewhere else. Oh, Lauren, we can actually talk about. Let's want to talk about the Lauren Boebert thing.
Here's the video.
She is, unfortunately, what an embarrassment. She is a politician from Colorado, right-wing, conservative, idiot, Republican.
They're going to show you throwing her out.
She went to the theater, which is not something Republicans do anyway. She goes to the theater. She goes to see Beetlejuice, an enjoyable musical, obviously touring now that it's done. It's run on 2 runs on Broadway. She goes there, but she's not really paying attention to the show. She's apparently on a date. She's dressed to the nines. She's got her boobs out.
Republican Representative Lauren Boebert was escorted out of a performing arts theater in Denver. Surveillance video from inside the theater shows officials addressing Boebert and her companion during Beetlejuice the musical. In a report shared with CNN, theater officials said they received complaints about 2 patrons who were, quote, vaping, singing, and causing a disturbance. One official said, quote, the patrons were argumentative. And after another complaint was made saying they were, quote, being loud and recording, they were asked to leave. The individuals could be seen walking out of the theater and escorted out of the building. Boebert's name was not listed on the incident report, and theater officials would not confirm Boebert was the person escorted out.
Oh.
In a social media post, Boebert confirmed she attended the performance and she was, quote, guilty to laughing and singing too loud. Boebert's campaign manager said she denied vaping during the show, but did use her cell phone to take a photo of the performance in a statement.
There's also footage of her blowing like vape smoke out of her mouth.
Really? Unaware that photos were not allowed.
Don't they say that in the beginning?
Of course they said that, but anybody who's gone to the theater in the past 30 years knows that photos aren't allowed. This crazy, crazy fucking woman. But she's there in the theater, and I've been in the theater. It's horrible with drunk people, and people who are like on a date and canoodling and want to do more to each other than actually pay attention.
Do you think that she was just out of it?
I don't know what's her deal. Well, I think they were drunk. I think they were on a date. They were drunk, and that she, when you're drunk.
She said she fell short of her values. She apologizes.
Now she apologized, yeah, because she was combative when she was tipsy and in the theater. But this is. I mean, Colorado. They elect a governor, gay guy, normal, nice. Someone, and they had Hickenlooper as the governor. I mean, they elect some really good people, and they're left right.
Oh,
but this woman.
So she said, like, you know who I am. I'm on the board. I'll be contacting the mayor. So she was saying stuff like that when she was getting.
That whatever. She was drunk, obviously drunk.
Do they tape inside
And
of
horny.
theater? Do they tape inside of theater?
No, no. I imagine they don't, with the exception. I would guess, I think in the orchestra, what I've seen is that there are monitors sometimes where, like, the orchestra can see the conductor and they're not really watching him, they're watching the monitor. I've also seen, I remember when I saw Bill Maher doing his comedy thing on Broadway, and he had a monitor with, like, prompts of the jokes and things. But even there, that wasn't taping the show. That was kind of pre-taped for him.
Because I just wonder, like, because something like, I guess vaping wouldn't set off a smoke alarm, but I'm wondering, like, what happens if something happened in theater? Like, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, their behavior was absolutely in 5 different ways.
No, but I mean, like, why wouldn't they have a record of it?
Oh, I see. Well, it's kind of like when I got slugged on the platform of the 42nd Street subway on 8th Avenue. When a worker, a transit worker, punched me in the face. And I was like, I went to them, I filed a formal complaint. I went up and I met with, and I was like, are you telling me in 42nd Street and 8th Avenue in Manhattan, on a subway platform many years post 9/11, you don't have cameras? And I should have gotten, because I know they were lying. I mean, they have to have footage and if they don't, what are they waiting for? What would it take the MTA, which I'm sure is cash-strapped and broke in the first place, but really, really, one of the most important stations in one of the most important cities in the world, subway where tons of homeless people, tons of crazy people, tons of things go on,
It's just
and
very.
you don't have a camera. And I don't mean like a nice HD color sort of, you know, 5K, 4K broadcasting. I mean, even like a monitor
They do have a camera. Look.
in the theater.
Yeah, look.
Oh, let's see.
So see this?
I thought it was just people taking.
Like this is in the theater, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
just
yeah.
press the little play button.
Let me
That's
see.
the theater. That's the theater, right?
Right. So, yeah. So they probably do have a big
Why
monitor
isn't it on?
backstage to make sure that that crap doesn't is very very far away.
I'll show you. But look here.
Yeah.
But just so you could see, this is the theater, so they do have a camera in the theater.
And they do.
So they,
And they should.
Just play the things you could see
Yeah.
what they're doing.
But it's so.
Congresswoman Lauren Boebert out of a performance of Beetlejuice this
Did she
weekend.
do anything?
After
I
getting
can't even.
complaints
I'm
about
holding up
safety
to the
taking
this so
pictures
close that you can
causing
see it.
disturbance.
It's like a tiny dot. It's also problematic to have video cameras taken all because it's dark.
Yeah.
The audience part is dark, you know. Yeah, laughing, singing too loud. Sure, Laura.
I just don't understand
The behavior of people. We are a society that has moved away from knowing how to behave
Maybe
in
she.
a public situation.
Yeah, she was drinking or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's more and
But
more and
no,
more.
I think she's going through something because she's been slipping in other arenas too.
Oh, really? Or is
She
it-
threw out some pin from like some kid who died in a shooting. I don't know. It's,
Oh, so she's having a whatever.
yeah.
No, it's not sad. Fuck her. I hope
But
she's
like
not
a
elected
melting,
again.
But I think like, but it's you can't vape indoors. I mean that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, or you can't vape indoors in that situation. Maybe you can in certain like a smoking parlor,
Yeah, like a.
you know, one of the cigar places. But anyway, let's move away from this idiot, this bitch. If you don't mind my using that word. Well, yes. Let us go elsewhere to people on an intellectual level so much higher than Lauren Boebert, right? I mean, so on such like double, you know how I'm double the age of baseball players? These are people with double the IQ of a Lauren Boebert. Because it's time for, they were announced this week, the Ig Nobel Awards. Not the Nobel Prizes. These are the Ig Nobel Prizes announced Thursday. This column, it's been covered in a lot of places, but this column is from Jennifer Ouellet from Ars Technica. But you can get the same information from coverage. And understand that it pains me a little bit to talk about this because the event, the Ig Nobel Awards, is sponsored out of Harvard Radcliffe. So you know my grudge against Harvard. They put out a magazine called Annals of Improbable Research. Annals with two N's. Improbable research. In other words, these are real, actual academic studies and scientific studies that sound ridiculous, but do have potentially useful scientific implications. So, you know, we might say, so there's cancer, and there's COVID, Alzheimer's, climate change, mental illness, and you're choosing to research this. This is the Ig Nobel Awards. The magazine says in response, you know, each winner or winning team has done something that makes people laugh, but also makes them think. And you can decide for yourselves how many of these kind of fall into that category. So the winners of this year's Ig Nobel Prizes include English geologist Jan Zalesiewicz for explaining why scientists like to lick rocks. Remember, they spend time, money, energy, RAs, GAs on this. Why scientists like to lick rocks. Turns out, you can actually tell a lot about a rock's composition by literally tasting it, putting it between your teeth and feeling how sedimental, I'm getting sedimental over you, is kind of like, I guess, the way jewelers in the old days would take a pearl and rub it against your teeth to figure out something. There's a certain composition that you can taste and feel with your teeth. And Jan Zalazarwich is trying to say, well, that's why this works. So he won.
You should not like rocks.
So he won something for geology, or so. The Mechanical Engineering Prize went to Rice University graduate student Fay Yap.
Oh.
Fay Yap.
What did they study?
Check this out. I love how minds work. She noticed a dead spider in the lab hallway one day.
Yeah.
I noticed a spider
Just
downstairs,
really
a living one. She discovered that spiders curl up when they die because of internal hydraulics.
Whoa! Oh, like a scoop, yeah.
Right. So she didn't leave it there.
Oh God.
She thought it might be cool to use the bodies of dead spiders as tiny air-powered grippers for picking up and maneuvering tiny electronic parts. Yap and her colleagues, including her advisor, did just that. They transformed a dead wolf spider into a gripper. And apparently there's a very easy assembly step, just like one little electrode in it. Yeah. They call, and this is so cool, they call this new avenue of research necrobotics. But isn't that amazing? Like you take a spider and you reanimate it, sort of, and its little legs go grippy.
They asked the spider's family if they have permission to use them.
Oh.
Don't spiders have a lot of kids, you told me?
And they have wives who outlive them, the black widows. So, get it? Ha ha ha!
Say that again, honey. I didn't hear. So
I said,
who was the spider?
no, they're outlived by their black widows. Thank you, Ruth. Even Keith likes that one.
You gotta wind him up, okay?
Oh, in case you were wondering,
Yeah. Oh yes, I was.
the mechanized dead
Oh,
spider,
David. Oh, enough with the dead spider.
it could lift 1.3 times its body weight, and the legs, so great, they could open and close 1,000 times before essentially the corpse parts wore out. Science marches on! Now the Ig Nobel Prize for Medicine, this is important.
Yeah.
8 authors used cadavers to explore the age-old question whether or not there are the same number of nose hairs in each human nostril.
God, really?
Honest to gosh.
I don't think people donate their bodies to science so that somebody's checking out their nose hairs after death.
I tried counting mine. I shaved mine
You have
earlier in the
an
week.
excess amount of nose
Oh,
hairs.
I do. I'm
You would be a
sprouting.
good subject.
This side, not this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I know.
But this side, this is just Jungle
Maybe
Book.
you could be like somebody who has an imbalance of nose hairs.
Oh, I could be also a prophet. Nostradamus. Anyway. Now, why would they do this? What, just out of sheer whatever? Why would nobody?
Because the nose hairs prevent disease. They're like a filter for caca.
So they have been studying things like alopecia and, which, hair falls out, and allergies and sinus conditions, where lack of hair and cilia make the patient more likely to suffer respiratory.
Transplants, like nose hair transplants and stuff. Like
Maybe
hair
they
club
will.
for nose.
Like the fecal thing. Yeah. So the hair club for nose. I like.
Yeah.
So the researchers realized no scientist ever actually bothered to count how many nose hairs.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody.
Because it's a fucking waste of time. It's funny. No, but maybe not. And it turns out, what do you think?
I have no idea.
Both sides are virtually the same,
Okay.
averaging 120 to
Wow.
122 hairs per
What did they say
nostril.
about shaving nose hair? Do they have any?
They have nothing about that. I checked.
Wow,
I went through like 15 different APA Science Journal articles about it, and nothing.
nothing. Okay.
Sinus marches on! She blinded me. Now this is closing on my avenue of thing. The Ig Nobel Prize for Literature
Yeah.
went to 5 authors combined who wrote a paper about, quote, the sensations people feel when they repeat a single word many times.
What is it? Copiophagia?
Actually, no. What's really interesting is the word is kind of related to, but almost the opposite of deja vu.
What is it?
Because deja vu is the feeling that something has happened before, even though it hasn't. Which I don't believe. I think it has happened. That's why it's weird. But you can't really prove. So it's deja vu. You feel like you've experienced something before,
But what's this?
even though you may have not.
You said
This is different. It's called is jamais, I guess. Jamais vu. Jamais vu. Many times. So you experience the same word so many times, it loses meaning and just becomes a cluster
Oh,
of
you're
sounds.
desensitizing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I were to say, you know,
Do potato.
Bober, all right, potato. I would have to say it many times because I love potatoes so much. But there would be this moment when it gets released of its meaning and becomes like
a sound.
and yeah, it's this weird. Have you had that with words?
I've had that with everything.
Yeah. Fair enough. So they're calling that jamais vu. Aren't these wonderful? The Ig Nobel Prize for Communications. So it took 8 authors to write a paper about the mental activities
Oh no.
of people who can speak Spanish backwards. Impressive, pretty that.
Yeah.
So Yom Nabe. Ya Abmarak. Yeah. As Trab Nostmus would say. No, so it's not just that they're doing sentences backwards, they're actually the
Why
words.
Is that? So what is the what?
I don't have much more about
What's the outcome of that? What's the reason?
I think it has to do with how we process.
Hypothesis. What's the research question? Like, what's the
I
rationale?
can take more down about this, and
Yeah.
you could go read the article in Ars Technica.
I see that.
But it certainly has to do with linguistics, and it has to do with how we process language. But let's find people who speak Spanish backwards, who have that facility.
Yeah.
There was a guy. I've probably told this story on here before, and I set myself the task of doing it when I was in a band back in like junior high school and high school with friends of mine. We were hired to play at a psychiatrist's backyard barbecue party. This is a true story.
Okay.
And we were hired as a country band. We were a novelty pop rock.
Did they know what you
Punk
really
band.
sang?
Yeah, we just kind of sold ourselves as like, yeah, we can do it. We can, because my friend was getting into Hank Williams a lot at that point, and we can do it. So we played, and we were good. You know, we sang Hank Williams tunes and things like that,
Oh, wow.
along with some more pop rocky,
Nice.
and Happy Together and what have you. And of course, it was a backyard party, so people got progressively drunk.
Oh, no.
And then we had
Did they yell out "Freebird"? Freebird!
that would have been better than.
Uh-oh.
But no, this is beautiful. So the guy who was kind of hosting it was getting progressively, a little more. He wasn't out of his mind, but gave him bravery and courage.
Oh no.
And he explained that I think he was in the hospital at one point. And what are you doing? You have nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
Especially back in the day before cable and what.
Yeah.
So he set about memorizing the classic Teresa Brewer song, Music, Music, Music,
Which is appropriate for the repeating.
backward. And he said, do you guys know Music, Music, Music? And I was the only one who even ever heard of the song. You know it!
In the Nickelodeon.
All I want is loving you and music. How do you know the song?
I don't know, maybe
My parents had the 45.
Probably my grandmother.
So nobody in the band knew the song. So like I'm running back to look. The guy wants to sing the song with the band back in. Just da 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 da. And we know
And
the
it was
chorus.
before,
I didn't know the chorus.
It was before like smartphones because you could have pulled it up.
Yeah, no. It was 1980s, like 5. And so, but he wants to do it. Let him do it. Just kind of like this kind of beat, and we'll just back him. It's awful. And he goes up there at the mic. And he starts doing it. I mean, he was so drunk, he just had a good time.
It's a celebration with your friends. It's not like a,
But he did it, and then for the next week, I set about.
Oh, to learn it?
Yeah. And I still remember, Topa Retan Lekeni, Ni et Noah Dolakan, Law. Wait, Topa Retan Lekeni, Ni et Noah Dolakan, Law it no signival void, that kism. I don't know the rest. Like, huh?
I love it. I love that.
35 years later.
That's marvelous, honey. You don't remember where you put my sneakers, but you can remember that.
I do remember that. That's right. So it's like, kism.
I like that. Kisms.
But imagine, I guess in akism, if they're in Spanish, it'd be backwards. You know.
I think you know.
Anyway, we're doing Greeley Crimes, Greeley Times with some elsewhere stuff. The Ig Nobel Prizes announced for ridiculous scientific studies and discoveries announced this past week. So we got something. The winner of the public health. Oh no, sorry. Yes, public health. Went to Sungming Park.
Yes.
For inventing
Oh God, what?
the Stanford toilet. Honestly,
I'm sure it's their proudest day.
I think this is genius
What is
for
it?
Dr. In a real, legitimate way. Give us 10, 20 years. This is genius.
It'll catch on.
It's a toilet that includes,
Yeah.
it has a test strip for urinalysis,
Oh wow. That's great.
a
I would love
computer
that.
vision system for defecation analysis, an anal print sensor,
Oh, I don't.
and a link that sends all the information directly to a lab.
That's smart.
It's
yeah.
great.
They
Yeah.
Martha Stewart did that with cat litter, where it's the cat litter when the cat makes pee pee. It tells you what's wrong
Yeah,
with the cat.
right.
Yeah.
This is for humans.
Yes.
It's a smart toilet.
Yes.
We have a smart TV, now we can get a smart toilet.
It'll come up on the TV.
Yeah.
Dave's in the bathroom.
Now, some of this technology has been around since the 70s, but privacy concerns
Yeah.
have slowed the technology's
Yeah,
movement.
but you could like, yeah, that's true. That's interesting.
But think
Wow.
about that. You just go and this comes out when you tinkle, this comes out when you poo, it
Did you just say
analyzes
the word
it.
Tinkle? You're a 59-year-old man. Your
When you
name is
whiz.
the word tinkle.
What? But I just love, you go to the bathroom and you get up and all your information, if you need to, goes right to, you have to fill up a little.
What happens if it's the wrong person? What happens if your cat or dog uses the crapper?
Oh,
And
well, I
then-
imagine they would put this in hospitals and doctors' offices. Like they want to measure
Oh, yeah.
your stuff while you're there, and so just go use the bathroom. The bathroom will do it all for you. You know?
Totoro's. I mean, not Totoro. Toto.
Toto.
They'll fight.
Oh, Hayao Miyazaki has a new movie. It's going to be his last film.
What's it going to be called?
I forget it, but it
What-
looks really great. He's
Really?
the guy who directed My Neighbor Totoro and a bunch of other important early Japanese Studio Ghibli anime things, and it looks marvelous. It really looks like an otherworld kind of story in the true Miyazaki style. See.
Studio Ghibli.
According to Wikipedia, Studio Ghibli, Inc. is a Japanese animation studio based in Kogane, Tokyo.
I do like Totoro director. Because I was on it.
Totoro director, final film.
According to ABC News, a decade ago, Miyazaki, the anime master of Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's Delivery Service, and Ponyo, said he was retiring from film in the 2013s. The Wind That Rises would be his last film.
But then he did Neighbor. I don't know.
Oh,
it gets a release date. Here we go.
Totoro is old, but so this is an older film that is finally being released.
I don't know.
It's called I lost it. Oh well.
Here, let me do it here. What had you lost it?
Anytime I touch your phone, it goes to something
Here,
else.
right here. Okay, it says it's okay. The film, it's called How Do You Live, will be distributed as The Boy and the Heron, according to Variety. An adaptation. A boy will grow up in the middle of a complicated situation, use all his strength to adapt to a future that has been waiting for him during his entire life. Originally thought to be adapted of the 1937 Japanese novel How Do You Live, it's going to be a different plot.
Yeah. But I've seen footage. I've seen the trailer, and it is
It
quite
says an
marvelous.
unprecedented strategy implemented by Ghibli for the release of the trailer. Not a single trailer or marketing expense was released to promote the project.
See trailer for Boy and the Heron. I can only show a little bit.
Trailer for Boy and the Heron. This one?
Yeah, that's it. So it has that look of that Japanese anime things that you've seen a million times, but it's also, there's something kind of magical about it that Miyazaki does. Not to mention, Totoro is going to be coming to Broadway in a year or two.
Really? Wow.
I swear to you, there's a musical version of My Neighbor Totoro coming to Broadway.
That's crazy.
It looks pretty. You can see footage of that because it was performed elsewhere in another state or another country. And that looks, it's like, it's My Neighbor Totoro. Have you ever seen My Neighbor Totoro?
I've never.
How can you say you don't
Neighbors,
like it?
I've never seen it. I'm
Anyway.
trying to lean on here. I'm very sleepy now all of a sudden, David.
Well, let me finish up
This
the.
is gonna fall on my head.
No, you're fine. We got 3 more of the Ig Nobel Prizes, then we'll finish up Greeley Times. Then Rabbi Saul will come in for a bit, and then we'll do Friends of the Daverhood, our Colorado Limerick, and then we're.
What's the place in Colorado today?
Place is Lakeside, Colorado.
That sounds nice.
Lakeside, Colorado.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. But first, the Ig Nobel Prize for Nutrition.
Yes.
Have you ever wondered
Yes.
how electrified chopsticks and drinking straws might alter the taste of food? I know you have.
Straws, I've wondered, yeah.
Electrified straws.
Not electrified straws, just general straws. Why
Well,
would you electrify a straw?
Well, the goal was to obtain, quote, to obtain a new layer of tongue
Oh, David, enough.
that can detect tastes that we could not previously perceive.
Oh, okay, they're not gonna, that's good, they were gonna see if, okay.
And guess what? Turns out electricity tastes a little metallic.
I would think.
Who knew?
Yeah, I would think if you, electroshock your tongue, it's not gonna be happy.
Yeah, or you'll take away
Yeah,
sensation.
yeah.
Apparently not. Or this electric it gives you a metal taste dish, but they're trying. Apparently, like we use our
Demonstrate
brain.
with your teeth.
It's like there's no real tongue in here, unfortunately. But here, have a piece of chicken. Anyway,
Poor chicken.
the prize for education went to 8 authors who,
This isn't your thing.
it's a special one. It's Happy New Year. Yeah. Or you can wear it. 8 authors methodically studied the boredom levels of teachers and students. So I invited them to my classroom, and it was just off the charts both ways. It's amazing.
But that's not, wait.
And then last, but so far from least,
Yeah.
and you know how I love physics,
Yeah.
the Ig Nobel Physics Prize went to a bunch of people for measuring
Yeah.
the extent to which ocean water mixing is affected by the sexual activity of anchovies.
On pizza?
Well, they're alive. but-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's like anchovies are fucking.
I can't get it, and I federal grant, and people are studying anchovies.
They're studying anchovies having sex
Yes.
and how that churns the water up.
Maybe that's good for climate control.
How many
Probably climate.
tens of thousands of dollars?
That's probably climate. Some kind
I'm
of
sure, or oceanography or something, biochem. No, physics. They won for physics. And I almost failed physics in high school, and barely passed physics in college. And all I had to do was watch anchovies fuck, and I would have gotten grant funding.
See what an anchovy looks like.
It's a fish. It's a cute little fish. It's like a guppy. Yeah.
Anchovy.
Here's the definition of anchovy: a small shoaling fish of commercial importance as a food fish
Oh,
and
they're
as bait.
cute.
Yeah.
Look at
Flavor
them.
is usually preserved in
Yeah,
salt and oil.
they're pretty, like little baby sharks. They're cute.
Oh my God!
What?
So the woman, who I used to call my sister, right? When she was living in the dorm, she had a roommate,
Mhm.
and the roommate put things like motor oil on top of the fridge. Like she had a very weird way of putting things in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So one day I opened the refrigerator and I see a bowl, like a huge round bowl filled with these dead anchovies. She must have been wanting to cook something.
Yeah.
But it was like a gigantic bowl that filled the whole shelf of the fridge.
Does it stink?
Yes, and
Yeah.
I opened it up and I didn't expect it. I saw all these little eyes looking at me of dead
Oh,
anchovies
did you
and
scream?
motor oil. Yes, and motor oil. Think of motor oil on top of the fridge.
Well, the thing is, you can use anchovy, but it's so salty,
Yes.
just a little
And then
pinch.
what somebody said to me is like, you don't debone them because they're so tiny. Like,
Yeah, the
but
bones
if you
are
were making something, that would be like for a wedding feast. It wouldn't be like something you'd have for like.
Did you ever get to ask?
She was a graduate, like a college student.
Yeah.
What would she know?
I don't know. You never asked her?
I didn't want to know.
Maybe she was making
And then
protein shakes
her
or.
roommate before that said, "I'm very religious. I will not have men. I will not do anything with men in my room." And I go in their room and I'm waiting for my friend and I hear like the bed moving and people moaning and I'm like, oh my lord! Like she had the roommate, like the bad roommate, stuff.
Well, yeah.
But that anchovy.
It's college, you know.
No, but like having a bowl the size of a shelf of a fridge filled with anchovies, and they were kind of bloody. It was like red.
Oh my God!
It was bad.
Were they already like in tomato sauce or something?
I don't think it was tomato sauce.
Oh my God!
It was bad. I was very nauseous. I had to leave.
Wait, if you never asked, how can you be sure they weren't maybe sardines or they weren't?
Because I know when I saw this, I had a flashback.
Oh, it's an anchovy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the size of them, I said they were so small. Were they baby fish? And then the other person looked and said, no, those are anchovies.
Oh, so
yes,
wow.
I was validated.
And the next time you opened the fridge, they were gone.
I didn't open that fridge ever again. I didn't want to see anything. If that's what she put in the fridge. And then the weird part is when her family came to visit my friend, they all used all of her shampoo and body lotion. Like, that's weird. Yes.
Well, all right.
It was a very bizarre. She was not a good roommate.
I would not. No. I mean, motor oil on the top of the fridge is like, it's an apartment. Where the hell?
You put it in a utility closet. They had a closet right across the way. You could have put it. Why would you put it on top of a fridge?
It's not in the fridge. What does it matter?
I know, but and then the dead pan, like huge bowl of.
And we were spoiled answer. Hey, it would have been much worse if you
Yes.
put the motor oil in the fridge and a giant bowl of unrefrigerated anchovies on top of the fridge. That would have been a very, very bad morning. Gotta tell you. Anyway, let's do one more Greeley time, and then we'll move on to the rest of the Dave's Gone By program.
Let's do it.
Let us go to back to Greeley, back to a piece of crime or some activity that happened a week or so ago in northern Colorado. For example, a caller on 10th Street said that someone put a knife in the trash can and covered it with a handkerchief. I think that's just considerate. Instead of as a reminder, kids, wipe off your fingerprints after you do the murder.
I would also say like sometimes when I used to throw away glass, I put a note on the garbage like things saying there's broken glass.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
it's
reasonable.
dangerous.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just like, it's so, like, cover the knife, put the knife to
Maybe it was
rest.
going to sleep. Yeah.
Little hanky blanky.
Lullaby.
And good knife, go to sleep. That was a cutting remark. Yes, I'm staying sharp, ladies and gentlemen, as we do Greeley crimes and old times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi!
Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee-yi,
I told you that.
yippee-yi.
When they said Mr. Greeley was no fool, give me the lines.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just a repetition of what Groucho was saying. But I can't understand what the chorus sings back to him. I really need to look that up.
What he's getting out of step.
Yeah,
What's the name
look
of the
it
song,
up.
honey?
Go West, Young Man. It was
Okay,
the
I'm gonna
theme
look it
song for the movie Go West by the Marx Brothers. So, what are the lyrics to Go West, Young Man?
I'm gonna say it. Yeah. Copy what you said. What are the lyrics to Go West, Young Man? Okay, Go West, Young. Okay. This is not it.
Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, this is a movie from like 1940.
I'm blazing a trail that leads to vice, so easily enticed by darker means.
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe it's just say lyrics to Go West, Groucho. Or just say Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool, and see what comes up.
Go West, Young Man by Billy Crosby.
Oh, well, yeah, it would be the same lyrics. What does it say?
Mr. Harsh, Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool. What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool. Boy, the wisdom of the man can be denied by none, for he is the one that said, before you go to Buffalo, to Baltimore, or Borneo, to eastern Pennsylvania or Japan, go west, young man. If you go to land, sonny, you'll have a lot of money. If you bring the money with you when you come to the Lone Prairie, yippee, 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 yippee. Before you read or travel and scamper off to Trinidad, too often in New York and the Yucatan, go west, young man. In the east, they live on donuts. In the west, natives grow up, and I guarantee you go nuts if you come to the Lone Prairie.
All right. That's actually still the donuts and grown-nuts if I stay here, I'll go nuts. Hooray, hooray. That's still from Captain Spaulding back in the Animal Crackers. But there it is. So what he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool. I could never understand what they were actually saying. Thank you. Yeah. But it's a cute number. The movie is very meh, Marx Brothers. But it's a cute little opening thing for
What
him.
he's getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yeah. What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley is no fool.
You got it.
Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee-yi, 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 bum-bum-bum-bum, whee! Da! It is almost 11 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time, here in here in Maryland, where we do the Dave's Gone By Facebook podcast and program on the stream. So before we bring Rabbi Sol Solomon in for story time, this is really important. I'll set this up again. 3 weeks ago, I started teaching. Well, both Joyce and I started teaching again with the fall semester upon us. Yeah, not. Well, look at it, because we want to share this with people.
Ooh.
And I had new sneakers, but they were the same brand as my old sneakers, which has never given me a problem. But this particular, and I even wore the new sneakers on and off for a week before school started, so I break them in, which is what you're supposed to do. I wore them the first day, long day, and like by the second day, there was a part of the sneaker that was just digging into my bunion and scraping against it and scraping near the bunion and giving me absolute agony. It was wearing into like a blister and, well, not a coring, but like a blistery thing. And
Yeah,
it was just,
it was very raw.
I could literally barely walk.
Like scraped skin. Yeah, it was bad.
This rubbing the skin was causing almost an infection. So it made me reconsider my feet because, thank God, I've had bunions forever, but they've never really, except here and there, given me a problem. There are people who have painful, but my Aunt Esther had bunion surgery because they hurt, and also
Bonnie too.
Yeah, Bonnie hurt. I think Esther, she just wanted to wear nice shoes, and a woman couldn't get nice shoes back in the day if she had bunions and white feet.
Yeah.
So she wanted to wear, fancy. She wanted to look whatever.
I'm sure they hurt too.
Yeah, and then she almost died from the friggin' bunion surgery. It was so horrible. So runs in my fam, and I got him. And so I wanted to share with you because basically haven't really considered them, and I thought, and Joyce's bunions have shortened in the past. I don't know how the hell that happens.
My Birkenstocks.
Yeah, her bunions have actually gone in a little.
Yeah.
Mine, I looked at mine in shock and horror at the size of my bunion. So first, let me show you. And again, the irony is, or the weird coincidence
Why
is,
don't you lower the?
yeah, that my worst foot, the foot with my bigger bunion, was not the foot that was problematic.
That's weird.
Because usually it's going to be the shoe is going to be tighter on the foot with a bigger bunion.
Yeah,
No, this foot not an issue at all. I'm going to pull this back, and
No, wait.
it's time for bunion watch. Here's the bunion on my right foot. Look at that sucker. Oh yeah. Oh, it's like it's chewing a gumball on the side of my foot. Look at that thing. It's even, I wish I could show it from this side, how I look at it. Like, look at it. It's like in those old cartoons when somebody gets a bump on the head, and then the little thing grows on top of it. That's my bunion. This is the condition at the moment of my right foot bunion. And you can see a little bit of I'll pull this back in a little bit more. A little bit of scrapage from like the shoe, but nothing painful, nothing at all. My left bunion, oh, what a killer. Oh, what a killer. And it's not even that bad a bunion. Look at it from this side. Barely even see it.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's barely even showing, but
Yeah,
I do
it looks
have one.
good.
And this is the remnant of now a 3-week-old blister and scab, where I was wearing what do they call them?
You were like
Bunion-
moleskin, like
moleskins,
a bunion
yeah.
guard. I can get you more Monday.
Which
if you need.
saved my life.
Yeah.
Because, having that on
You
under the
just needed
sock.
something to not like.
Yeah.
It's why I learned why blisters happen. It's like friction of rubbing, so it's forced, right?
Yeah.
And so if you take away that friction, you feel better.
That's because I was pressing down and when I was walking, I was so miserable. It was so
Well,
awful.
for nobody, because your feet are what supports your body, and if you're in pain, you're stuck.
And unfortunately, I'm not one of those professors who sits down and sits like a desk all day. I'm on my feet. I'm walking around the room. That's how I get my energy out. So, that, by the way, let me do both Tootsies at once. Get the drums.
Okay, wait.
Bunion Watch! It's Bunion Watch! Let's make this the logo for the whole
Where's the
program.
We need the air.
Oh yeah, here we go.
You look like Esther Williams.
Thank you. Yeah, the only thing that freaks me out is there's probably like one person.
Like a
I won't be
fetish.
watching who's like masturbating to this, like a foot fetishist is like,
You know,
yeah.
But foot fetish people need some,
Yeah.
love too. And if their thing is bunions and your bunions do it for someone, then it serves a need. You're happy that you're sharing your bunion story with somebody,
Yeah.
and that individual is happy that you're sharing the bunion story with them too.
And you know what? Foot fetishists got soul. I'm a heel for saying that. I know that. Yes. So let's instep to the next segment of the show, which I'm not going to do. It's going to be our beloved and very, very old friend, the Jewish.
Yeah, but what happened to his payas? I think he cut his payas off.
Well, it's a new year, sort of a new temporary look. He'll grow.
Yeah.
They grow back. They grow back on different parts of his body, and then he glues them
Maybe
to his
he
head.
heard that nose hair story.
Or should he just bring them back? Which do you think?
No, I think you should do him his normal self. Otherwise, you just look like a regular person.
All right, maybe put the blue one on top of that one.
Okay, yeah,
So it's a special occasion. It's Rosh Hashanah. So, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the Daverhood right now to do story time. We're just going to read an actual story, part of it, in honor of the Jewish New Year holiday, which started last night and is today and also tomorrow, if you live in America, the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Sal Solomon. Oi! Oi! This is problematic now. All right, gotta move carefully here. Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is your own pal, Rabbi Sal. I look like I'm wearing a brassiere on my head. I only wish.
You look like my Aunt Esther when she goes to the beauty parlor. You're wearing your snood.
Look at me. I look rather like a 1940s movie star.
You look like you're wearing a snood, Rabbi.
Oh, well,
Or
you know.
something.
I sometimes I've gone to snoodist beaches. But you know, I am Rabbi
I'll
Sal
see you in a
Solomon,
little bit, Rabbi Sal.
founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And oh, am I happy. Oh, what a joyous day it is. Because this is Rosh Hashanah, ladies and gentlemen. This is the brand new Jewish New Year, which in retrospect, I'm sure will suck as badly as the old year has. Prices are still going to go up. People are still going to die. There's going to be fires here. There's going to be global warming there. There's going to be a hurricane churning up the East Coast. There's going to be lunatics killing people, kidnapping people, But Happy New Year. For one moment, as they do in America on December 31st, we can say, up, let's just look forward instead of backward. Let's have something sweet. Let's look to new, joyful beginnings. And we're going to do this today by going into something completely old. There's a segment that they do on the Dave's Gone By Facebook, your podcast, your program, your the stream that I am appearing on now and have since the very beginning, which is called StoryTime. And both Dave, the host of the show, and I love this because we don't have to come up with any new material. We can just take someone's old crap and make fun of it. So here, appropriate enough for me, is My Little Picture Bible, a book. You can tell how well written this is because they don't even tell you who wrote it. I mean, it's God wrote it, obviously, but who adapted it. They just mention who did the illustrations, Diana Mayo. You literally have to go into the book to figure out, look at this. In big letters, Diana Mayo did the illustrations on, by the way, the person who put the words together, James Harrison. So, this is My Little Picture Bible, a book for children, and it is divided into the Old Testament and the shitty New Testament. So we're going to do a little bit, really only of course, the Old Testament, me being a Rabbi, and this being the New Year. So let's look at a story from the Old Testament. We'll start, since it's a new year, we're talking about new things. My hat is coming all unglurveled. This is going to be a problem now. Thank God I have the original hat on. We'll do this. That's better. All right. God creates the world. In the very beginning, there was nothing at all. Not even one Starbucks. There was nothing at all. Nothing to see, nothing to hear, nothing to touch. It was black and cold and empty, like the heart of a republican. I kid. And God said, let there be light. And a dazzling light. Hold it, let me get that off the A dazzling light filled the darkness. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. Oh. God's version of a ring light. And then God created the land and the seas and the sky above. And the earth burst into life with seed-popping plants and cherry-popping daddies and sweet-smelling flowers, all budding and blooming and springing and sprouting. Look at them budding and blooming and springing and sprouting, kind of like polyps on my neck. The God made the sun to shine in the day and the moon to shine at night, except it really doesn't. It's taking the sun's rays and it's bouncing off and it's not shining itself. But that science has nothing to do with religion. God filled his world with all kinds of creatures, all chasing and racing, grunting and growling, kind of like those anchovies we were talking about, and roaring and howling. Look at all these beasts, cute little octopus up there somewhere. Where is there? There's a little octopus, he's cute. And got a turtle there. Never heard a turtle grunt. It's quite a thing. And just they're all doing these things that animals do. How many animals can you name? Let's see. Hitler, Osama bin Laden, Joseph Stalin, Son of Sam. There's a few more. Then God created man and woman to share his wonderful world and take care of it for him. Because, God who can do anything still needs he needs helpers, he needs servants, he needs slaves. After 6 days, God had created the world and everything in it. So, on the seventh day, today, Shabbos, he rested. He probably watched a little Netflix, a little Hulu, but basically just, lounged on the couch for a bit. And now we get to the Garden of Eden. The first man and woman were called Adam and Eve, and God loved them. He put them in a beautiful garden called Eden to enjoy everything he had made. Look, pretty flowers and more flowers and doves and bunny rabbit. There's a bunny rabbit there. Hard to concentrate on the bunny rabbit because there's like a naked girl there. But they're not showing anything. which is another reason why this book is useless. Eat whatever you like, says God, except the fruit from the tree. This tree, said God, showing them a tree in the middle of the garden. It's not good for you. Adam and Eve agreed. And for a while, everything was perfect. You know this story. This is just how they're telling it. But one day, a snaky snake slithered up to Eve, and mistaking it for a dildo, she picked it up and talked to it. Why don't you eat that fruit? He hissed. It's delicious. God told us not to, said Eve. That's because he knows it will make you as smart as him, said the snake. And the fruit did look delicious. So she took a big bite, and then she gave it to Adam to eat because women always get men in trouble. Well, as soon as they swallowed the fruit, Adam and Eve felt awful. They tried to find God, or hide from God, but God found them, of course. There's not like a lot of hiding places in Eden. There weren't caves. There weren't, subterranean tunnels. It was a beautiful paradise. God's like, where are they? Oh, they're there. Okay. Now behind that tree. I can see behind the tree. I'm God. It was Eve's fault, cried Adam. It was the snake's fault, sobbed Eve. Don't blame me. It's the snake as he slithered away. Well, God was angry because they had broken their promise, and he sent them, boom, up, like these things are going off my head. He sent them out of the garden. Oh. And there are really no repercussions. They don't really talk this much about really what he told them, and that women would give. They don't want to get into, they stop the story right there. It's kind of like Greeley Times. The cops show up, they say something, and then we never really know what happened because they go right to Noah's Ark. Look at that. Boom! Thousands of years later, Noah's Ark. God felt sad. The beautiful world he had created was full of wicked people. So he decided to sweep away everything in a rushing, gushing flood of water. Everything except Noah and his family. They were the only good people left in the world. Everybody else, I guess, they were lawyers and tax attorneys. I blew the joke. I'm sorry. God told Noah to build an enormous ark with enough room for Noah and his family and a male and female of every living creature. Don't forget to take plenty of food, said. Now again, being God, you figure God could have built a boat. God could have done all the provision. God could literally wave like his schmeckle at nothing, at the air, and suddenly a boat would appear with a zillion provisions in it. But no, God said, yeah, you got to do the work. You're good, but I'm going to force you to build this friggin' ark here. And put a lot of food in there as the sky grew dark and gloomy. So Noah marched the animals 2 by 2 into the ark, from gangly giraffes to tough tigers to roly-poly penguins. This is cute. I like that. Roly-poly penguins and teeny-weeny spiders that when they die, you can actually use their legs as gripping tools. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, go watch the earlier part of the show. I can't keep this on my fucking head. All right, that's better. Pardon me. I have a temper. Then the rains came. And the rain didn't just bitter and batter, it poured and it splattered and it became a terrible flood. There was ear-cracking thunder and blinding white lightning, which I have drunk in certain bars. It's not good. So much rain fell that even mountains were covered. Nothing survived except the animals jam-packed onto Noah's watertight boat. But at last, the rain stopped. The waves grew smaller and smaller, and the sun peeked out from behind the cloud. Hello, shalom. Unsure if anything else had survived, Noah released a raven to search for dry land. But it flew back empty-beaked. I like that. That's cute, empty-beaked. Then Noah sent out a dove, which came swooping back with an olive branch in its beak. It had found land. This is lovely. This is nice. What a nice story. Oh, look at this is pretty. Look at all the animals there. Even the Bronx Zoo doesn't have this kind of array and probably Michael Jackson on his ranch had all of this. Safe and sound on solid ground, the animal spilled out of the ark, and God made a dazzling rainbow in the sky to show his love for all living things. Isn't that nice? Now speaking of beginnings, get to the beginning of the Jewish race here on the Dave's Gone By, where we're doing story time from this book about the Bible. God told Abraham to go to a new land, not Florida, no, not Borough Park, somewhere else. He said, pack up your belongings, and I promise you will be the father of a large family. And Abraham, by the way, is like 90-something years old at this point. He wasn't going to be fathering anything except like stains on his underpants. But God made a promise, so Abraham traveled to the new land with his wife Sarah and his herds of animals. So I guess they had some animals left over from the ark. They put them in the shelter. Abraham and Sarah took a few. One night, Abraham looked up at the twinkling stars, all shimmering and glimmering and winking and blinking. And God said to Abraham, your family will be like the stars in the sky. And, they'll see you, you'll see them, but you don't want to touch each other. And there will be more than you can count. And Abraham said, I can barely get it up. What that? No. He said, Sarah thought they were too old to have children, but God kept his promise, and they had a son named Isaac, Yitzchak. Look there, yeah. Look at the whole family's been getting a lot of sun there. Kind of an Ethiopian Abraham. And suddenly that's it. Okay, they start. The writing here is pretty good. They're telling a story. It's like, so he had a kid. God promised him like 4,000 kids. How does he get from, no, they don't, now we're on to Joseph already with the coat. All right, let's get to Joseph and the coat. Isaac's son Jacob had 12 sons. A lot more than Abraham did. Joseph was his favorite. One day, Jacob gave Joseph a brand new coat. It's like a windbreaker because it made farty noises. And it was as colorful as a rainbow. Next to it, his brother's coats looked old and drab. Last year's fashions. They began to hate Joseph. Hey, by the way, how many colors can you see? Look at that. Whoa, pretty. That's like a kente cloth. Let's go further here. The brothers were taking care of their father's flocks. As the goats bleated and the sheep went baa, they plotted to get rid of Joseph. Then a caravan of camels came by, and the travelers were on their way to Egypt with sweet-smelling perfumes and exotic spices. Let's see, what shall we do today? You want to go to the mall? No, let's not go to the... Hey, let's go to the theater. There's something... No. Hey, let's sell Joseph as... Oh, there go my hats. Okay. Let's sell Joseph as a slave, said one of the brothers. No, now you talk. That's how I want to spend the Shabbos. Good. So they ripped off his coat and sold him to the traders. We'll say a wild animal killed him. Then they dipped his torn coat in animal blood and told their father that Joseph was dead. Nice, right? And they do pick up the story. Here's Joseph. He goes to Egypt because, does he go to America, deal with the Native Americans? He said, no. Could have gone up to Canada. Could have maybe hit Mexico. Nope, Egypt he goes. In Egypt, Joseph was sold as a slave. And he worked very hard, and his master liked him. Then someone told a lie about him, and he was thrown in jail, where he met the king's baker and cupbearer. Last night, said Joseph, I dreamed that I squeezed 3 bunches of grapes. Oh, this is the cupbearer saying. Last night, I dreamed I squeezed 3 bunches of grapes into the king's cup, said the cupbearer. What could this mean? And when I woke up, my testicles were really, really tight and in my hand. In 3 days, the king will give you back your job, said Joseph. Mazel tov. So the baker told Joseph his dream. I was carrying 3 baskets of bread to the king when the birds swooped down and pecked at them. Well, got some bad news for you, says Joseph. In 3 days, the king's going to have you put to death. and everything that Joseph said would happen did. It's not a wonderful story for the baker, if you think about this. The king of Egypt was worried by two dreams. I saw seven, wait, is this, it just jumps from thing to thing in this. I saw 7 fat cows grazing by the river. And no, this was not the entourage of Rosie O'Donnell. I'm kidding. Or where 7 skinny cows came along and ate up the fat cows, the king said. And then in my second dream, I saw 7 plump ears of corn growing in a field, when 7 shriveled ears of corn sprouted up and swallowed them. The king sent for all his wise men and magicians, but no one could tell him what his dreams meant, because he wasn't going to lie to him and bullshit him. But the cupbearer remembered Joseph, and he said, you know, Joseph, we brought Joseph to the king, and Joseph said, both dreams mean the same thing. There will be 7 years of good harvest, followed by 7 years of famine. Store up grain in the good years to feed the people during the famine. Good idea, thinking. King was so pleased with Joseph that he put him in charge of Egypt. So the famine spread far and wide, and Joseph's father sent his sons to Egypt, because they were starving now, to bring back food. Well, Joseph's brothers did not recognize, of course, Joseph, because he's now high up and he's wearing even better than his coat of many colors. He's got all one color, gold. Don't you know your own brother? Asked Joseph. Well, his brothers were scared shitless, but Joseph forgave them and told them to bring his papa to Egypt. Jacob cried with happiness when he saw his son Joseph. And then we get to, we'll save this for Passover. You got the baby Moses, you got the burning bush, which is, why they invented Vagisil. You have the 10 plagues, ladies and gentlemen, which is the Republican National Platform. And what else you got here? We got all sorts of cool, the 10 Commandments, which is what every husband gets from his wife. Samson and Delilah, more stories, more fun stories. And then they get to the Goyish stuff and Jesus. But, very nice. My little picture book, a nice little way of spending time with biblical things as we celebrate a brand new year here in the Daverhood and in the world. So I'm Rabbi Sal Solomon. I want to wish you a sweet year, a good year. Take an apple, dip it in honey, and understand something. I find honey disgusting. Dip it in Caro syrup, maybe. You might maybe take an apple and dip in just sugar or maple syrup, perhaps. Simple syrup, anything, just to convey the idea that sweet, good, happy things should occur in the new year. And I don't have a chauffeur here to blow because I usually take Ubers now, but Tequila, Chirua, Shemaim. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring Dave back into the Daverhood, but most Shana Tova Tika Tevu to Tika Tave, all of you. Well, yes, it is about 25 after 11 Eastern Time in the Daverhood here with me, Dave Lefkowitz, on Dave's Gone By. It is our 911th episode of the show, and always happy to have you here for any episode that you choose to watch or any of the archives that you watch at davesgoneby.com or archive.org. Do check them out, and do drop me a line at davesgoneby@aol.com. Check out our Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2, as well as our Instagram page, David.Lefkowitz. All different ways and places to keep what's happening on the show in your life. Anyway, we have still to come are Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we're going to Lakeside, Colorado for a disgusting little poem. But before we get there, we, one of the lovely things about the show, even though we don't have a guest this week, we often have very wonderful guests, sometimes famous, sometimes not, on this program. Like last week, we had comedian Jimmy Tingle. That was so much fun. He was such a good guest. We've had folks like actress Vicky Quaddy, who created or co-created Late Night Catechism. She often plays our Today, Yesterday trivia quiz. Haven't played the game in a month or so, so we haven't seen her recently, but she's doing great, and go see her shows out in Chicago. I want to give a shout out to David Sheward, who writes for theaterlife.com, culturaldaily.com, totaltheater.com, reviewing plays and musicals on and off Broadway. And he also has a blog called The David Desk. He's on very, very many of our shows, as is Leslie Hoban Blake, who is the co-star of Two on the Aisle, a theater review TV show that has aired on Manhattan Neighborhood Network for many, many years. You can also watch entire episodes and clips on YouTube with her and our friend Charlie Gross. So we say hi to all of them. They're friends of the Daverhood, people who have been on this program in months, years, and weeks past. We like to keep tabs on them. They're friends, they're family, and let you know what they're doing, are friends of the Daverhood. So, for example, gotta send out congratulations, really, really huge ones, to Andre DeShields, the Tony-winning actor. After all these years doing tons of Broadway, off-Broadway, and other stuff, he won a Tony Award for Hadestown on Broadway, and in 2019, even before then, he was honored with the key to the city of Baltimore. I guess he's a Baltimore native. He was on our program a couple of years ago, and now he's getting yet another honor from this town. They're naming a street, like an 1800 Division Street, I think, in Baltimore. It's going to get a sign of like Andre DeShields Way, right? I think that's happening this Monday or Tuesday. So congratulations to our friend Andre DeShields, very talented friend, of course, going to be an actual part of Baltimore geographic lore, Andre DeShields Way. So big, big, big congratulations to him. Also, want to let you know that our friend Tom Tose is part of the Harvard-Yale cantata that they do every year around this time. And it's happening Sunday at 54 Below in Manhattan. So check that out. Jessica Schur, her show, boy, she is pushing that show, marketing it everywhere. Betty Davis Ain't for Sissies, and you can catch it if you're in New Jersey in Basking Ridge. They're doing it at the Siminsky Theater in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Jessica Schur, 2:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, Sunday, for Betty Davis Ain't for Sissies. Amanda McBroom, the singer and songwriter, on Monday night, she will be at Birdland with her latest cabaret concert thing called Such Good Friends. And Amanda Green, a very different Amanda, who also writes songs for the theater, she is contributing songs to a benefit called Broadway for Biden, with LaShawne's also going to be attending that show, performing in that show. They're not giving out the address of where it's happening yet, because apparently the president is supposed to attend. But it's a big fundraiser for his re-election campaign that all these Broadway people, these actors and chorus folks, are putting together to raise money to re-elect Joe Biden for president. So Amanda Green's contributing material, LaShawne's will be performing, and a bunch of other people. Broadway for Biden happening on Tuesday. Also on Tuesday, Seth Bisson-Hirsch is doing his 750th showcase at Don't Tell Mama. Because Seth MCs this kind of thing where performers practice, they get up, and they do a song or two, generally unknowns. It's like an open mic, but they're preparing for it, and they've worked with him to sing and get their numbers out and become polished cabaret people. So Seth Biesenhirsch, his 750th of these is happening at 7 p.m. on Tuesday at Don't Tell Mama in Midtown.
Yeah, but
Say-
all I want to do is
Yeah.
print my discussion, and my computer's like it upgraded, and now it's got problems. So I'm trying to print something real quick. So
Yeah,
my
no,
computer's-
do it. But is your printer okay? Is your computer okay?
I stopped at the page that I wanted to do before.
Oh, yeah. All right. David Broza, the musician, singer-songwriter, is part of the Perelman Performing Arts Center grand opening in their Refuge series, and that'll be happening this Thursday. Robert Galinsky, will be directing a solo play by Lynn Shay called Tripping on Life, and that is running now through October 8th on Theater Row at the Theater Row complex of theaters over on West 42nd and 9th Avenue. Neil Berg and Robert Schenkang's new musical, The 12, being done at Goodspeed Musicals in East Haddam, Connecticut. If it goes well, it will have a life far beyond there. That is running now through the end of October. Lilias White is on Broadway in Hadestown. We were just talking about it at the Walter Kerr Theater. And of course, Alan Menken, you can hear his music in Aladdin on Broadway and Little Shop of Horrors off Broadway at the West Side Theater. And then we've got Marcus Goldhaber. He performs on Sundays, every Sunday, at a place called Room 623 in Harlem, up on 119th Street. And then we get all the Birdland people. Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano, Saturday evenings at Birdland. Vince Giordano and the Nighthawks, 2 different shows, Monday evenings at Birdland. And of course, Jim Caruso's Cast Party every Monday night at Birdland. Get your tickets for all of these at birdlandjazz.com. Evan Seplow is the founder and editor of StageBuddy.com. This is a website to go to for information about New York activities and nightlife. Dr. Demento doing Dr. Demento shows at drdemento.com. And then, let's read Phil Mushnick in the New York Post, writing about coverage of sports and how sports is done on TV and radio.
Did I miss the Limerick?
No. I'm doing Limerick's coming up. Perfect time. Oh, yeah. She's like, oh, I hope I missed the Limerick. You haven't yet. And then I want to throw one more in there. Who else can I throw in? I'm pretty sure David.
Who visited?
Look. I thought we were saving for the Limerick. We've got, this is Pooey. We call him, was Roland.
Shitty?
Yeah, Shitty. He's not Pooey.
I love
Pooey's
the texture of the toilet paper. That always appeals to me.
You know, it's very soft. Well, it is. It's soft and cottony. So we have toilet paper, of course, and we have Pooey. Because the show does go down the toilet in just a minute when we do our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. But anyway, those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. La 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 la. Thank you, Ludwig van Beethoven. Okay, so it is a little bit after 11:30 in the morning Eastern Time, live on this Saturday, September 16th, 2023. You're watching the 911th episode of Dave's Gone By. We're calling it Dial 911 because we've been doing this. I cannot even believe it. We're going to hit our next anniversary in just a month, because we started broadcasting October 6th of 2002
It's amazing, honey.
on the radio. And
How did it go with the Rabbi?
oh, the
I
Rabbi
heard
was very
yelling.
good.
I heard yelling. Here.
Yeah, well, the
What are
Rabbi,
your
that's what he
fancy
does.
for your Limerick?
Should I put this on?
No,
Pooey
for your
or
Limerick.
on me?
It's your
Yeah.
Limerick.
Yes, okay. So our last item of business for this episode of the show is
Should be taken seriously.
our Limerick. It's our Colorado Limerick. That's better. Our Colorado
like
Limerick of the
it.
Damned.
You look like more.
Mork for Mork? Or Meep Mork.
Meat more.
When Joyce and I lived in Colorado, I took it into my crazy little head to write a poem about as many places in Colorado as I possibly could. There's about 260, 270 now. I mean, because this was a few years back. And I'm still trying to write more. And they're getting more and more difficult, believe me, as the names get weirder and weirder. But I managed, it took a little while, but I came up with a poem this week for Lakeside, Colorado. A raunchy, naughty, evil, cute poem, 5 lines, a limerick, about Lakeside, Colorado. And I'm going to do it this week as part of our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 would end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain,
Oh, Colorado, rago, indeed. As we do our Colorado Limerick, let me see what rating I would give this one. I would, R. Semi-hard R. But not
Take them, they're too young to
not quite my worst. Okay, let's get Pooey. Or it's
somebody's
not
jealous.
Pooey. His name...
Somebody's jealous.
Uh-oh. This is Pooey. Here's beloved
David,
Pooey.
take those off before you poke your own eye
Yeah.
out. David, look at that. You look like a little butterfly or some kind of. You
Oh!
look like some kind of like
Like something like Mr. Rogers.
You know, some kind of like flying like
Like an insect
like
thing.
one of those like
It's like LeVar Burton stood too close to the microwave.
That's
It's like,
really bad
Yeah.
laser cataract surgery. Whoa!
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. If I find a girl with tits like this, I'd be in a good... No, but... Ow! Ow! Don't break my drums! Anyway. Or at least with a hole like this. Anyway.
Go do your thing.
Here comes Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we go to Lakeside, Colorado. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about it. The population of Lakeside, 16. It's actually a small little area. It is the least populous municipality in Colorado, but it is right next to the most populous, Denver.
So how can there be a place that only has 16 people?
Well, it's a municipality. It has some rule. It has some thing. It's not a city, obviously. It's a town. I still don't understand what a municipality is.
Lakewood, Denver.
Lakeside.
Denver municipality.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about Lakeside.
Oh, it's in Jefferson County.
Yeah, Jeffco. Mm-hmm.
It's the suburb.
But a suburb with like 16 people in it.
How can that only be
Yeah, I don't know how that... I mean, 16 people living there doesn't mean that you can't sort of walk in there and be 17. Or 20 if you take the wife and kids, 30 if you bring a passenger of tourists. Plus,
Oh, the population of Lakewood?
Lakeside,
Oh.
not Lakewood,
Don't
Lakeside.
yell at me.
Lakeside, Colorado.
Don't yell at
I
me.
didn't yell, I'm just saying.
Apologize.
It's all right, I'm just saying Lakeside, not Lakewood. Yeah, no, Lakewood is big, but I think Lakeside is also Jefferson. It's near Denver. So what do they say about Lakeside?
I'm looking up because you're yelling at me. I can't do it. Go throw away my sneakers again.
Lakeside was founded by brewer Adolf Zang to create a resort that skirted
Oh,
Denver.
look at that search with AI Power Boost. That's your phone, not now.
Oh, it's my phone now?
Yeah, it wants to do AI.
No, thank you. I mean, at some point, yes.
It's got an amusement park and a creek.
Whoa. Alrighty. Yeah, well, yeah, the amusement park is a big thing. That's the amusement park has been around since 1907, when Adolf Zang built it. He wanted to create a resort area that wasn't dry like Denver, so where people could come and drink and have a good
In
time.
1910, it had 103, and then in 1920, it had 36.
Yeah, well,
In 2010, it only had 8 people.
oh, so they're building up.
They doubled.
Well, they've
2020.
been having a lot of sex there, which is kind of, during the pandemic, there was nothing else to do in Lakeside, Colorado. So, in the 1950s, they had a huge shopping mall there, because the whole place is like 1/5 of a square mile. And then the shopping mall kind of went out of favor, and it became a strip mall with a Walmart in the thousands. But there's still the amusement park. You can still go to the Lakeside Amusement Park. So, that's all I know about Lakeside. Anything else about it?
No, that's all I found.
Well, that's Lakeside,
Oh, they have
Colorado.
a lot about the amusement park. Look, it looks nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like a nice amusement park. Says it is a family-friendly amusement park for all ages. Free parking,
Well, that is nice.
flexible pricing.
Yeah.
Looks nice. We should go there. It's near Costco.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Although for 3 weeks we avoided the state fair like it was the plague here. So, they had the same kind of, they had the wheelie things and the spinny thing and the whatever. But anyway,
Lakeside Police Department.
yeah, what about them?
Drop us a line. I mean, what is it? What they have a Facebook group?
Yeah.
Gotta log in. Not a lot going on.
Yeah, well,
Let's
there's
see the
16 people in
the
it.
10 best things to do in Lakeside
Yeah. Are
are
one, leave.
the Goodwill and Bookstore, the Post Oak Barbecue,
Mm.
Berkeley Park, Sassafras American Eatery, Lakewood Amusement Park, Call Your Mother, Eye Care Vision Centers, For Heaven's Sake Metaphysical Store, and it stops at 8.
The 10 best things to do in Lakeside
It
are
stops at
only
8.
8. And one of them, the first one is a
Optical
thrift
visit.
store.
And the other one's an optical visit.
Yeah. Boy, when I go traveling, when I come from Sweden with my family, and I want to see the best of what America has to offer,
Yes.
I want to find a good vision place.
Yes, and a Goodwill.
And a Goodwill store. Well, I told you, many times on the show already, I've made fun of Brush, Colorado, that horrible little town where they wouldn't hire me for their fucking school. But, I was there for a job interview and had about an hour and a half to kill and nothing to do on a midweek afternoon.
Yeah,
And
nothing.
I went to all they had, they were
Goodwill, like a Goodwill.
dead stores, empty, just
Yeah,
gutted,
yeah,
like
yeah.
ghost town. One, like, what do they call the thrift store? The Salvation Army
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thrift
like a
store.
Goodwill, yeah.
Went in there, run almost entirely by retarded people. And I'm not making, they were literally like Down syndrome or,
It's to probably teach
Yeah.
them,
and it was like, except they were all looking at me kind of weird and funny because I guess I was new in town. And I'd come out and I'd buy like a paperback book or something. And I told someone that I talked to, or someone, there was actually somebody on the street because the streets were dead.
Wow.
And it's, anything to do here? There was a diner that was already closed because it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he said, well, have you been to the thrift store? It's really happening. And I was like, that was Brush, Colorado, which was like an hour's drive from where we lived. And I almost took that job because I was so desperate. Except they didn't offer it to me, the fuckers. I'm sure the children were fine, and then they go to school and come out retarded. Well, because I took it personally. I was overqualified.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been a good fit because you wouldn't have stayed. They knew that.
Well, I know I wouldn't stay.
Because
They would have given me a full-time job as a teacher with benefits.
Yeah, but they would have. They know that you wouldn't have stayed.
And it wasn't. I mean, you would figure a town like that would have a bedraggled, horrible school population. People in barrels rolling. No, they have this like the first thing you go into the school. They have the music room with all these kids practicing on instruments and stuff.
Wow.
It wasn't bad. It was a real
David,
school.
It wasn't meant to be. Let it go.
Well,
Do your.
I did let it go, but then we mentioned places in Colorado, and where the best thing in the town is the thrift store.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and no optometrist too. Come on.
And the optometrist, that's right.
Don't know.
And the mystical, heavenly,
It was
whatever.
some kind of bookstore.
Yeah, no.
No. They're gonna wear not my Nike sneakers, but other Nike sneakers.
Let's go back to Lakeside, which is at least close to Denver. Lakeside, Colorado, where I have a Colorado limerick of the damned. Ahem. A dirty old pervert from Lakeside would pull down his trousers and take pride in waving his dick at every cute chick until one sad morning his snake died. Please send your comments and complaints to davesgoneby@AOL.com, davesgoneby@AOL.com. Also, you can post your messages to me here on Facebook. Love to hear from you.
Take off your googly things. They're
Yeah,
making me dizzy.
they are. Yeah, I can't even see them on the top of the.
Oh.
I have to literally have to go like.
They're on your neck like you have like juju.
Oh, let me try this.
Just don't hurt yourself.
Oh, I like this.
no.
This is cool. I should wear this outside.
No,
Like, no, I should not.
You're
No.
not going to get French fries if you wear that.
I want me French fries.
Okay, let's
I
go.
want my French. Anyway, so that was our limerick. I've mentioned a couple of times davesgoneby.com, the
Did
main
you put
website.
your on-air sign on air?
No, I'll do that at the very end because otherwise it's
that's
too
much. I
too
forget.
blinding to the viewers.
Mm.
But I want to remind you also to please check davelefkowitz.org, davelefkowitz.org. That is a place where if you want to read my theater reviews from years ago, my song lyrics, my plays, interviews I've done with a lot of celebrities over the years, just hundreds and hundreds of items at davelefkowitz.org. Give it a look. And by gosh, if you run a theater company and you're looking for funny one-act plays to do or even longer plays, give my plays a look. What could it hurt you? I think today
You're big
was.
in Chennai. You're big
Yeah.
in Chennai.
They
You're
did my
big
play in India.
Chennai. You know you're big in Chennai. You're
What a
big
thing.
in Chennai.
It was one of the proudest moments of my past
Yes.
decade of
And
out of nowhere.
Not only did they do it, but they did beautiful artwork. They had 3 different depictions of like a poster,
Yeah.
and then the play itself was wonderful.
They did a fabulous
Did
job.
They send you the
It was English, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they sent you the English is the common.
Yeah, I have.
language.
If you want to go on
It's beautiful.
davelefkowitz.org, there's a link to
I think
that
they did an
production in
excellent
Chennai.
job.
Yeah. Fab.
Yeah.
Please, folks, please do. You know, I wished a very happy birthday to our friend of the Daverhood, Tony Sportiello,
Oh yes.
who I think it was either today or yesterday. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Tony. And he and Al Tapper own the AMT Theater. It's actually Al Tapper bought the AMT
Yeah.
Theater in Midtown. It used to be the Phil Balzakowski, then the 45th Street Theater. They own it now. They run it now. They're doing an Al Tapper play there now. Have they done one of my fucking plays? No. So, happy birthday, but somebody read my plays. Somebody do them. Get me out of the morass that is my life. I'm just, he's a teacher. Please. Enough said. Anyway, you've been watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio podcast and Programming of the Street. Live on this Saturday, September 16th, 2023. I want to thank so much my darling and wonderful and adorable wife for joining and all your help and your
Shoeless
noises.
wife.
Yeah, I'm shoeless too. Look at my bunion. Pooey for making a lovely cameo.
Yeah.
I would never shit you. Yeah, thank you, Potato. I said that. It was Pooey. It was not Potato. I promise. Potatoes aren't on the show. Yeah, that's why I didn't have
What
him.
is he talking about? French fries? What?
There's no. I know. That's why I didn't have him on the show. And what do we call him?
I think we call him Poopy. Did
Poopy,
we call him
really?
Poopy?
That doesn't sound right. But
Shitty? Hippie? Feces?
or
Caca?
happy, maybe happy for happiness.
Happy, yeah,
It was happy.
Yes.
Like in Death of a Salesman.
Yes,
Um,
he's so happy.
From excessive diarrhea. And then, of course, I want to call him Roland because he's like a roll of
We
toilet
did
paper.
call him Roland.
He is
That's what we
Roland.
used to call him. I
Yes.
love that he's got texture. I think that's so clever.
And, of course, our friend
You want me to do it
Brap.
one more time? Here, one more time.
One more
Here.
time. I got to blow it up, though.
No,
It's
I'll
like-
do it. I'll do it. Don't touch it with your lips.
That's what she said.
Why are there socks and yarmulkes on the floor? What the heck? Like this, David, what is going on with this
There's an
combo?
explosion of Jewish New Year things. It's
Really?
relatively new socks and relatively new yarmulkes, too, for
I
Rabbi
have to
Saul.
Stand up in a second. I gotta.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll
I feel like
definitely.
I'm doing
And remember, put it under this cushion. And I think that will protect it.
get
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
What
Here we
did I
go.
tell you? Okay, quick. One more.
Excuse me.
That kind of startled you.
I know, because I thought it let the air out, and then I sat down.
No,
Yeah.
it started to make the food
In
the food
anticipation.
sound by itself.
Yeah. Well, this is, of course, our brand new whoopee cushion. I'm so thrilled.
Wait, I know you.
Okay. This is going to be exciting, folks.
Go.
I just see my giant belly. Oh, well, folks, what a wonderful, what a wonderful show.
That was.
That was not.
Okay,
That was not.
yeah,
Are you going to do one more? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tape it.
So
again.
thank you for watching. We do anticipate being back next week, although I am not sure. I'm going to be extremely nutty ass busy next week. Although I will have an extra weekend because of the Yom Kippur holiday. So I'm not. I might do a show
Honey.
next Saturday. I've made farts like that.
It's like-
That was a sharp fart.
Let's try one more. 'Cause
All
I
right.
don't know why it's making that. I don't know if he's leaking. I covered him with.
Well, he's hissing a little bit because I keep sitting on him. The more I sit, the more I'm going to break him again.
Okay, let's just. Well, that's okay. We'll try one more. Come on, do
All
a
right.
good fart. Do a good
I'm
fart.
doing my very best.
Yeah, I'm talking to him.
Oh. I hold. So anyway, folks, what an interesting visual. Remember, I want to thank you to Mel G. Mintz for being on our wall today, as well as the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Okay.
So, my friends, have a wonderful Jewish New Year. It's not really.
Losing?
Yeah, oh dear. Thank you to Inflatable Tube Gal for making an early appearance on the show, and to, of course, Screaming Goat. And to Rubber Chicken. Yes, it's an interesting cast of characters, because no actual human beings want to deal with me. There you go. That's when you're in the movie theater and you're trying not to fart, and you let it out just
sit
bit
on
by
it.
bit.
I'm not
Ready?
making that. No.
That's a fine blow job you're doing. Here we go. Oh.
Wet one.
Gonna have to change my underpants after that one, ladies and gentlemen. Ha.
Let's keep this straw. We could fill it up with that.
Yeah, that's better than my trying to
Yes,
do the
I know,
thing.
with your
Yeah.
mouth. Ugh.
Annie, thank you. Ugh.
No, because you can't. You're like always juicy. And
Well, yeah,
skinny.
because it's not a real. You don't get a nice tight seal, which is what a walrus loves. Anyway, let me just to make this really special for the new year, ladies and gentlemen, make it a sweet one, make it a happy one. You have been watching the 911th episode as we move towards the 912th of the Days Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream. So, Happy New Year, everybody. Health, all good things, and gone by.
Days gone by.